portions of Lawrence, it is a severe thunderstorm warning. So we're going to kind of zoom in on this specific storm and take a look. And actually, there's an update here, I believe, in regards to this little cell I was just talking about right here and heading towards Leavenworth. Looks like it has a special weather statement. Gusts up to 50 miles an hour are possible with that specific storm. So not the criteria of a severe thunderstorm warning. It is about below that. So we'll watch that, but I wanted to get to what's going on right now. As we zoom in, we're looking off towards the east, and we've got the severe thunderstorm warning that includes portions of Lawrence, or Douglas, Jefferson, Shawnee counties. And keep in mind, it's a continuation of what's been going on here back towards, places like Shawnee. But we're looking at this over the next couple of hours. As you can see, we're looking out of our Lawrence camera. You can see light. I mean, it's a beautiful picture of the sunset behind it. We've seen a little bit of lightning, and obviously some dark clouds. So this is not in the area yet, or at least it's encroaching, I should say, on the area. This warning continues until 8:15. It is moving northeast at 40 miles an hour. It's 60-mile-per-hour winds and half-dollar-sized hail. So,
and right now we've got reports out of McCluth of pea-size hail.
Okay. Good to know. So we'll kind of zoom in, take a look here at what's going on. I'm going to put a pause on our loop. Likely Lawrence going to start seeing some light rain right now, likely if it hasn't. And I'm going to take a look at our hail tracker. This is over the last 2 hours, but it looks like right now just a slight little uptick just south of Tecumseh and possibly just towards the southwest of McCluth, as Mike had just mentioned. So that would be just south of 16, K16, and then east of 59. It's likely very small, and it's a small little pocket. So 0.2, so small hail. But if I zoom back out and get a little bit further towards the south, you can see not a whole lot of hail crossing over into kind of our counties. Still kind of stays stagnant just south of Tecumseh and then south of I-70. But you can see the kind of dark, ominous clouds that are happening out there. A lot of lightning as this is looking off towards the west out of Lawrence. So once again, if we take a look, let me zoom back in to Lawrence here. And I might as well save it because I'm going to be going back here. Pockets of the heaviest rain looks to be kind of securing I-70 crossing over to 40. You can see kind of that darker magenta color. A lot of lightning, and we're seeing the lightning here on the left side of your screen, which is likely right around that spot where we're seeing. So I'm going to be interested in removing the camera a little bit. Thanks, guys. Right around there, I'll be interested to see. I'm going to double check to take a look at, of course, our velocity.
Are you seeing a lowering? Is that what we're
seeing?
seeing?
I was going to say, I'm going to take a look at.
Is that scud or is that a rotation?
That looks kind of like scud to me.
Yeah.
But I wanted to do, as I'm watching this, I'm like, oh, maybe I should take a look at our velocity here quickly.
Okay, while you're doing that, I just want to give a heads up to Leavenworth and Easton. 50-mile-per-hour winds coming your way, possibly some pea-size hail also.
Okay, thanks, Mike. Okay, it's getting a little bit more challenging because the radar, the Topeka radar, usually we would use the Topeka radar. The Topeka radar is down, has been down, but going in and out, so not entirely reliable. So we're using...
That's a big, big circulation.
Yeah, we're using kind of what we're looking at in terms of the Kansas City radar, but we're going to watch that spot there because we are seeing some higher radar reflectivity.
Oh, no.
Too, so we'll be watching that spot. Keep in mind, this is moving 40, 45 miles per hour towards the northeast. So we're looking at some small hail building back, not into our counties yet. As you can see, this kind of gray. We were talking a little bit about that. Keep in mind on the left side of your screen, this is the storm we're looking at on the left side of your screen. Lecompton likely starting to see some heavy rain. Lawrence, this is going to be kind of moving here shortly to you. Not quite there yet. Obviously, we've been watching it through the camera, but I wanted to kind of put this on a pause. Take a look again at our hail tracker. Excuse me. look at our hail tracker and see still if we're seeing that kind of hail core, small hail core just towards the back. And this would be moving next to Tonganoxie, of course, Eudora, DeSoto, Bonner Springs. If it continues on the northeastern track, would likely go up 70, possibly into portions of KCK, maybe Parkville too, later on down the line. We'll put a track on here in just a second, but I wanted to get back to the hail.
That's an interesting.
It's an interesting structure.
Notch. Yeah, it really is an interesting structure. I'm glad you're dissecting it because, yeah, I want to learn more about this storm just by the way it looks.
Yeah, so the hail core still going to be crossing 70 into kind of portions of our area. Not quite there yet, but likely along 70. If you're traveling 70 towards Big Springs, if you're north of Big Springs, or I should say rather east of Big Springs, you're probably not seeing any small hail, but you will be soon. Picking up anywhere between about 1/2 inch of hail, close to, penny-sized, kind of small marble-sized hail there. And then that likely goes along I-70 and then would go into Lawrence. But as Mike and I mentioned, it's got a little bit of an interesting structure here that we're going to be watching. We're also watching the storms that are down towards the south. We've got not severe thunderstorm warnings, but 2 different tornado warnings that are still kind of butted up towards our Anderson and Franklin counties right now. So
yeah, it's a new one.
Yes.
Till 8:45 for Coffee and Lyon. So you have at least until 8:45, maybe even later, before it even gets close to Miami County. So I'll keep an eye on that one for you.
And then we got the storms to our north too. So we're kind of a wide view once again as we're starting to see this line come through. There was a big question mark. It was about 5:45. Mike and I had a conversation. It kind of was a big question mark if whether or not the 2 clusters were going to form into a line. There wasn't a whole lot of linear structure happening as we watched the storms move in from central Kansas kind of to where they are now. We've seen them, this very thin line between Easton connecting for the line, but still the 2 stronger parts are just north of that connection and just south. But overall, the southern part of the storm looks to be a lot more powerful than the one towards the north. But our northern areas are still seeing kind of heavy rain, that possibility for some small hail. Let's go back up there, take a look at what's going on. The severe thunderstorm warning, keep in mind, goes until 8:15, where Andrew, Buchanan, Donovan, Holt counties. Still, to me, as I'm looking at this, the strongest part of the storm overall, especially when we think about wind threat as well as hail, it's going to be up towards the north, kind of moving on the eastern side of Nottoway County. But down here, we're still to Savannah and then back towards St. Joe, likely some gusty winds. But when we think about lightning too, not a whole lot of lightning going on the southern edge of this, a lot more happening on the northern edge. So going to get back and take a look at our hail tracker and see if we could see any. Not really looking like it, actually. Let's see if I put on the loop and then turn the loop off. Maybe just north of Grant City, very small. Would be small hail, and that would be over the Iowa border actually. About a 1/2 inch of hail. So we're talking about small hail. Think about when we talk about quarter-sized hail, that's about 1 inch. So about half the size of a quarter. So we're talking about marble-sized hail. Still watching that potential for some stronger winds, possibly up towards the north too. We're gonna kind of switch through radars. I'm going to see if we could see kind of any returns here. We'll see 35, maybe 40 miles per hour. So we're looking up towards the north, still 60-mile-per-hour winds, quarter-sized hail. But Mike, can I throw it to you to take a look at the storms down towards the southwest?
Yeah, I'm getting everything back together, taking a look. So yeah, let's do that. Let me finish with this one right here. Let me start. Let me save that. You gotta save it or it won't. All right, so here's a look at what we're looking at. So away from the radar is the red, towards the radar is the green. So right there, 75 and 268, US Highway 75, K268 just to the north of Valley Brook. Between there and Fairfax is where we're seeing the best rotation out of the storm. Again, this is in Osage County. This is Douglas. and this is Franklin. We're keeping an eye on this because this thing has had a potential. It's been radar indicated that it could be putting out, you know, a tornado. So far, I've been checking with the storm spotters. They're out there, but they haven't said much. This is moving off to the east at about 30 miles per hour. Yeah, let's go all the way to Ottawa. Why not? All right, so just looking at this, Davie School at 8:31, Centropolis 8:32. So you're looking at 30 minutes. Mineola School 8:36, Ottawa 8:40. So you have plenty of time before this potentially tornadic thunderstorm heads your way. Ottawa Unified School District office at about 8:40. Been watching the hail out of this system too. Let's get this track off here. And the hail's pretty close to where we thought the circulation was. You know, this product could be maybe delayed a little bit compared to the winds that we were looking at there. And let's take a look and see what we got here as far as some hail coming out of this. About an inch, so that's close to severe thunderstorm, which is an inch, which is a quarter size. So there is some pretty good hail on there. Let's take a track of this. Let's back out a little bit. And this is heading off to the east at about 30 miles per hour. So these storms are in no hurry. What may be happening is the low-level jet from the south is getting stronger once the sun starts to set, and that could buffet it just a little bit and keep it from moving to the east just as quick. But it also creates a little more spin in the atmosphere when that happens, and that's why we look at this hour to see, hey, maybe some of these storms might start spinning again down to the south or keep spinning, and that's why we're looking at that. So hail, always a bigger path with the hail. Actually creates, as far as money goes, more damage or costlier damage than the tornado does. Yeah, it's amazing. So Pomona, 8:31. Now, is it Richter or Richter? We heard both last week, and we'll go with Richter. 8:39, Davie School 8:41, and Centropolis about 8:43. So that's a system that we're watching because it could move over into the northwestern part of Franklin, the southeastern part of Douglas County. So that's a look at that storm right now. Still plenty of time before it gets here, and I'll keep watching it. Going to send it back to Melissa now.
Thanks, Mike. Just so you guys know, we do have both of our streams pulled up. And so please let us know if you've got any reports or anything like that. We would love to be able to share them and see kind of, you know, what's going on as we're talking about these storms moving through the area. So I was just looking back at where Mike was looking at those storms down towards the south. We went up towards the north, kind of where we've been is up towards the north. We've gone down towards our southwestern areas, and I'm going to go back to the storm that is kind of along I-70, moving through Lawrence right now. And we do have some cameras that are out in Lawrence. Also, our First Warn 5, or excuse me, our First Warn 5 weather tracker also out in Lawrence. Last time I believe that we talked to them, they saw the wind starting to pick up. But as you can see, we're kind of seeing the leading edge of the storm that's moving in now. Looks like pockets of, you know, heavy rain ongoing. I'm looking off to the corner. I've got some other cameras too that we could see. We've got our tracker. Oh, here we go. This is a look out of our tracker. You could see dark skies, heavy rain, windshield wipers going fast. As I zoom in on this specific storm, here we are. The heaviest part of the rain is likely not even into Lawrence yet. So we're looking at Lecompton with pockets of heavy rain right now, maybe some small kind of hail pockets too. Keep in mind this is 60-mile-per-hour winds and quarter-sized hail. So up to quarter-sized hail possible in here, likely just towards the west of Lecompton, moving into Lecompton. And then looks like we've just got a kind of added severe thunderstorm warning for what I believe is probably the propagation of this line. Misses a little bit of portions of our other counties, but got some new updates there. I did want to take a look, as you can see.
Oh, new warning coming out.
Yes, they extended it. Now that's going to be for portions of our kind of western fringe of the 435 loop. So Tonganoxie, Linwood, Bonner Springs, Leavenworth. It's a pretty big warning, actually.
We've got a couple of people in Lawrence that want to know Be Better, 1129. Don't know how to pronounce that one. Also in Lawrence. So they're asking, will there be a tornado in Lawrence? There's the potential. We don't see it right now.
Yeah.
You have the reflectivity up. I'm going to try to pull up the velocity. And let's take a look. There's the Lawrence City Cam full. We're not seeing much of a lowering, not seeing
no.
anything really rotating. Remember last week when the storms looked like stacked pancakes? That was some rotation in the air. We're not quite seeing that, even though we can't see above a little bit, but you can definitely see some mean-looking rain coming your way. Even a little bit of hail is possible. While we're taking a look at that, there's the Campanile. We're looking to the southwest now, right over the heart of KU. So, yeah, that's what's coming into town. You can see a lot of rain down to the south, a little bit more than you can see anywhere else. And I'm just getting the... There is a little bit of a broad rotation to the west on 40. That should be K10. All right, 40 turns into 40. And so there may be a little bit of hail out there. This is what I'm talking about, just a little bit of rotation right there. It's very broad. It just means the storm is spinning just a little bit. Let me take a look now. That is Topeka's warning area, so I'm going to get over here and take a look and see if Topeka has said anything. Severe thunderstorm warning, that's what they're looking at right now. It's issued at 8:05 for southwestern Douglas County, Osage, and Franklin County. Severe thunderstorm located 5 miles south of Scranton, so this is a different storm. This is the one that I've been tracking, actually, and its radar indicated right now. So we'll keep an eye on that. No reports out of Lawrence. I know Douglas County has a good spotter system, and they'll let us know if they see anything. But a little bit of rotation there, but not too concerned about it just yet.
No, we usually, when we're concerned more about rotation too, we have severe thunderstorm warnings that are in place, and we sometimes have tornado possible tag. We don't have that, and we don't have a tornado warning. So possibly just some broad circulation. Sometimes we see that in terms of hail cores, as Mike had just mentioned. As I kind of zoomed in, take a look at the hail. We're kind of northwest of Lawrence. We're looking at Lecompton. And then north of 70 and north of 40 and between 24 is probably where we're looking at some small hail. And this is about half of an inch. So when we think about that size, an inch of hail is around the size of a quarter. This is going to be, dime size, maybe a little bit smaller towards marble size. So small hail, some gusty winds. Keep in mind, this is moving towards kind of the east-northeast here. I want to put a track on this so you could see kind of what's going on.
Hey, where's that Tonganoxie split? Sorry.
Here's what's going on kind of as we take a look as it's moving into portions of the metro. I am going to change the track to be a little bit different as this is more linear as it kind of starts to move into the metro here. And it looks like, Mike, they've just issued a tornado warning down towards the south. So
on it.
We'll take a look at that. And then, of course, I'm going to say a couple of these places out first, and then we are going to kind of switch over to go on TV and continue on streaming. But Lawrence, around a minute now until you see that heaviest rain, gusty winds, small hail. Eudora around 8:24. Smithville, Parkville around 8:43. So we are going to kind of take a closer look at the tornado warning that's down towards the south.
Yeah, I've got it for you if you want to.
I'm First Warn 5 meteorologist, as well as our Mike Nico, meteorologist Melissa Meter here with you. We have a new tornado warning that is in place. I did want to let you know if you want to continue watching CBS programming, you can get that on KSMO. But we're going to focus right now on what's going on down to our south as we're looking at portions of northern Franklin County with a tornado warning, and then down towards the south of Douglas County too. So myself, Mike, and I are going to continue to walk through this, track radar as well. And we also are up on our streaming platform. So if you have any reports, if you live in any of these areas, please let us know if you've got any reports, as we're going to be monitoring our chats as well as the National Weather Service chat. So for the tornado warning, we are looking at portions of northern Franklin County, eastern Douglas County, and then southern Douglas County, Franklin County, and then Osage County. So here's what we're looking at right now. There's the tornado warning. It continues specifically until 9 p.m. So it's 8:11 right now. We are going to kind of zoom in, take a look at what's going on here. The latest update from the National Weather Service is radar indicated rotation. The hazard is a tornado located about 4 miles west of Globe, moving east around 45 miles per hour. So we're going to kind of zoom in here, take a look at our rotation on our radar, track this out for you. But right now we're looking at zooming in.
I've got it if you want.
Oh, yeah, go ahead,
You want me
Mike.
to
I'll
take
send
it
it
for
to
a
you.
second while you reset?
Yeah.
Yeah, here it is. There's globe right here. And here's US Highway 56, and you can see right there what we're looking at as far as some spin in the atmosphere sitting right on 56. So that is where the potential tornado is. Again, remember, this is a radar indicated tornado. We do not have eyes on the ground seeing it just quite yet, but now that the sun's down and the storms are blocking any twilight that may be out there, it'll be hard for those folks to see it. But just know that's why we have the radar, and that's why we look in the middle of these storms. It's moving off to the east. Let's take a quick track of that and kind of go right across that in Baldwin City. Now, we're getting a lot of questions from Lawrence. Here you are, Lawrence. You're to the south. You should be okay. Okay, but we'll keep an eye on it. You should be okay. That's why it's for southern Douglas County and northern Franklin County. But the storm, let me redraw that. That looks, let me pull that over just a little bit more and reset it. There we go. So 819 in Warden, 835 in Baldwin City, Liston Field, 836, 843 in Blackjack, okay? So it's 812, 813 right now, so it's already past Globe, or it's sitting on Globe as we speak. Warden, you're up next, and you've got about 6 minutes until it's to your neighborhood. So remember, calmly but quickly, you've been ready for this because we've been talking about this severe weather threat since Sunday. Just go ahead and execute that safety plan. You remember, as many walls between you and the outside as possible. Even if you don't have a basement, you want to get as many walls between you and the outside to stop that debris. You want to get in a bathtub because not only is it a smaller space and you have the bathtub to get into, but it also has the plumbing in the walls that will also help block debris. So this is what we're looking at right now. The storm is moving through the southwestern part of Douglas County. In fact, maybe a little bit closer to Centropolis. But I thought we were seeing the best rotation around Globe, so that's why I put that track on that. It looks like you've got a good handle on it.
It's just kind of around, Highway 56.
Yeah.
So we're looking in this general vicinity. We start to kind of get a little bit of a harder look. Our Topeka radar is having a little bit of some issues today from the storms that have moved through. So we've got a little bit different radar kind of situation going on, but looks like right around Globe, likely past Globe already as it's going 45 miles an hour. So it's moving east. It's likely going to be moving along 56 towards Warden, and then east 900th Road would be our next cross street. So right here, 56, just kind of along Warden, and then we're looking at East 900th Road. This will eventually cross over 59. So we'll go from 56, likely traveling along 56, and then crossing over 59. Warden, be getting in your tornado safe place zone quickly as possible, as Mike had mentioned. Later on down the line, we're going to be watching kind of on the southern edge of this too. Just on the southern edge, likely north, I should say, of Centropolis. So we're looking still in this general area, likely already past Globe towards Warden, and then we're looking over towards 59, crossing 56, going to 59, and then headed towards Baldwin City. So if this is moving 40, 45 miles per hour, so we don't have much time. I want to put a track on where this is headed. Looks like we're going to get a new scan. Looks like we just did. Still a little bit more challenging to see, but likely around 56 towards Warden, and then going to be crossing over 59. Keep in mind, going around 40, 45 miles per hour, it's going to be headed towards the east. We're looking at, right now, it is 8:15, 8:21 Central School, 8:21 also Warden. So make sure you're getting what to your tornado safe place. A reminder, that is going to be the most interior part of your home. That could be a basement. If you do not have a basement, that is in, away from windows and doors, a hallway, an interior room, or a bathroom of some sort. So then we're looking at Oakdale School around 8:27 in about 10 minutes, Baldwin City around 8:33, and then Liston Field around 8:33 too. So it's moving off towards the east. these are kind of racing a little bit quicker than they were earlier, and it's likely going to travel along 56. So I wanted to show you actual radar 2 of what's going on, and likely based on this radar structure I'm seeing, it's probably right in here is where we're looking at. So we're looking just north of Centropolis and then kind of traveling along 56, as I'd mentioned, going to be crossing over 59. So we're still kind of looking in this vicinity north of Centropolis, and then we're looking 56 crossing over to 59. So that's where we're looking. It's kind of in between, of course, the two counties, but the tornado warning itself, keep in mind, if we zoom out, still moving 40, 45 miles per hour till 9 p.m. So we're looking at it moving 40, 45 miles an hour. It is on the northern side of Franklin County and then on the southern side of Douglas. So we're kind of right in between the two counties. It looks to be more likely that rotation just north into southern portions of Douglas County. So seeing that rotation likely just north of Centropolis. Let's go back and take another look at this radar indicated rotation.
Hey, in a minute, we've got a new considerable severe thunderstorm warning. No.
Okay, I'll go real quick here, and then I'll toss it back over to you if you want to talk about that.
Okay.
Okay. So Globe, Warden crossing over kind of 56, crossing to 59, and then pretty much just hovering across that kind of county line is where we're going to be looking at. So be getting in your tornado safe place if you're in Warden. If you live in the intersections of southern Douglas County between 56 and 59, be headed to your tornado safe place as well. And then later on down the line, we're looking at Baldwin City too. So once again, that tornado warning continues until 9 p.m. It's going to continue to move off towards the east. I'm going to send it over to Mike to take a look at that considerable tag, and then we'll go right back and take a look again at this tornado warning. Mike?
Well, the good news, it's not quite in our area yet, but it is bearing down on our area, and that's why we are in this also. So this is Osage County here. This is Coffee County here, Anderson and Franklin. These are the two we need to be worried about, but the storm itself is still near Ottumwa on the west side of 75, but that considerable tag means 70 to 75 mile per hour straight line winds coming out of this. It is a radar indicated storm that could produce that strong of some storms or that strong of winds if possible. Let me take a look and see how fast this is moving off to the east. It's moving to the east at 45 miles per hour. So let me stop this from time lapsing and let's take a look. Let's do a whole one. Let's do a whole line here. Let's just do it this way and then go east. Okay, and here's what we're looking at. Williamsburg, Hampton, Ottawa. Williamsburg at 822. It is 820 right now. Hampton, 828. Ottawa, 828 also. Okay, we're starting to get a little bit closer, and we're getting into Franklin County. Garnett, down there in Anderson County, 845. Paola, if it holds together, 851. And Somerset, down there by the winery, Somerset Winery, 855 and maybe 857 in Fontana. So we're seeing the possibility inside this storm of straight line winds gusting at 70 miles per hour, which would be a weak tornado kind of damage. Smaller, maybe not as well built buildings. Think about some of the stuff you may have on your porch that could get blown away. That's the kind of winds that we're looking at right now. So you got a little bit of time in some of these areas to bring stuff in, lock stuff down before the storm gets to you. Okay, so right now the storm is still pretty much out over in Osage County, but it is heading our way, and I'll keep an eye on it. It's getting pretty close to Ottawa there, as you can see on 35. So right now, it's radar indicated. Let's send it back to Melissa, who continues to take a look at that tornado warning.
The tornado warning continues till 9 p.m. Keep in mind, we're kind of right on the edge of southern Douglas County and then northern Franklin County. So pretty much just along the county borders is where we're looking at. We expect them to take Osage County out of it here shortly with the new update because the rotation has moved past there. But we're looking right kind of in the vicinity just north of Centropolis of where that rotation is going to be. Once again, we zoom in and right kind of towards 56 and 59 is where we're going to be watching along that kind of 56 and 59 corridor overall. You can see there are some pockets too of some strong wind gusts up here towards the north, some brighter returns. But 56 and 59, Warden has already needed to be in their tornado safe place. Baldwin City going to be down the line too. This is moving towards the east. Keep in mind 40, 45 miles per hour. So likely just, and it looks like maybe a little bit of tighter rotation happening here. Gets a little bit more difficult to see, as we've been mentioning. We're having some issues with the Topeka radar, and it looks like they've since got it back up, which is good news. Let's see if I toggle between the two, if we can get kind of a better look at what's going on. So likely around Warden is where we're looking at. And then I'm also going to watch too, just towards the kind of northern side of Centropolis. In between Warden and Centropolis right now is kind of where we're seeing the rotation. We'll be eventually crossing from 56 to 59 here shortly, moving 40, 45 miles per hour. So I feel like it's kind of been sitting similarly in this same spot for a little bit longer than I would probably anticipate. So I likely think it's probably closer to around 56, 59 right now in that interchange heading towards Baldwin City. Looks to be going north of Norwood and then likely just north of Franklin County. We're in southern Douglas County. So if I zoom out,
there's an update if you want to take a look or if you want me to talk about it.
You can say it, Mike.
Just now, the National Weather Service put out that the thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was about 4 miles northeast of Centropolis, moving to the east at 45 miles per hour. Again, it's radar indicated storm. What I've been trying to take a look at is the correlation coefficient to see if anything is in the air, and there's something maybe to the east of Centropolis right here. We're getting a little bit of a peg right on this. I'm trying to zoom down and take a look at the streets where this may be around Iowa Street and Stafford Street. Okay, that just went away with the latest update, so it's probably off to the east, and it does not look like there is anything out there. Once again, if we see just this solid red, that's good. If we start to see some green like this, which is not anything, but if it was in here by itself, that would be debris in the air. We just don't see that right now. So that's a good sign that this is still a radar indicated and may not be on the ground. But we still have to treat it like it was because it's possible. The storm is rotating. So just wanted to let you know, I was looking at this part of the storm. We'll send it back to Melissa.
Thanks, Mike. I kind of wanted to kind of give you a kind of outside look at what's going on radar here. The structures are a little bit different because, if you think back to the last, week and a half, we saw very isolated supercells, a very defined hook echo. This is not really what we're going to see at all with what's going to be going on this evening. As these storms have basically formed into a line, we are going to see little notches. They may be quick spin ups. We'll see little notches that occur. So right now, I'm possibly seeing two. One down towards the southern side of Centropolis as kind of like a radar kind of based thing that's kind of catching my eye right now. And then what is crossing 59 and 56 right now. So I'm going to look back because both of those areas are in that tornado warning. So the radar rotation we've been tracking is just towards the northeast of Centropolis. It is right on the southern edge. Basically, here's the county line. We've got Franklin County, we've got Douglas County. We're right there on the county line, just south of Warden, crossing over 56, 59. And if you look down towards the southeast, maybe a little bit of some pickup that's trying to happen. But we're going to continue to watch that there. But right now, it's looking like it's between Centropolis and Warden. So if you are around 56, 59, be getting in your tornado safe place zone, and then eventually Baldwin City, it looks to be tracking pretty much just along county lines. Eventually Baldwin City, and then towards Blackjack too. So that's where we're looking at for the rotation. I do want to take a look too, because this tornado warning is embedded within a much larger and several
new severe thunderstorm warnings. Yes.
Several new severe thunderstorm warnings. So what we have seen happen here basically over the last 20-30 minutes is this really form into a line, but still the southern side of this line is the more potent and overall stronger portion of the line. There are still severe thunderstorm warnings up in our northwest, but they are, base severe thunderstorm warnings, 60-mile-per-hour winds, quarter-sized hail. When we start to see these kind of white outlines, that's when we start to get into the considerable tags that are a little bit more, of course, dangerous, because we're looking at stronger winds as well as, larger hail. So embedded within that is the tornado warned portion of the storm. So I'm going to zoom back in on that. I'm going to take another look, and then I'm going to send it over to Mike to kind of give an overall look at what's going on and focus on a couple of the other storms. But right now, we're still seeing the storm, likely 56, moving across 56, 59th, already past that. And then looks like, let me try to toggle on a different radar here. It would still looking kind of east now of Centropolis, crossing 56, 59 still, kind of along the county lines is what I'm still seeing here. And it's about to cross over. So Baldwin City needs to be getting in their tornado safe spot, as well as Norwood. It's still basically tracking just along the county line, crossing 56, 59 right now. So if you basically are on the county line in Norwood, you need to be getting in your tornado safe place. And then the 56, 59 corridor in portions of southern Douglas County, Baldwin City needs to be getting in their tornado safe space spot too. I'm going to send it over to Mike to take a closer look at some of the other storms that are going on out there right now. Mike?
Yeah, some of the new warnings that we were talking about, you can see go up to Leavenworth County, over towards Platte County, Wyandotte County, Johnson County. Storms are moving through Leavenworth right now. You got a little bit of hail right there to the west of town. If that keeps going, that's going to go probably right across the penitentiary, or Fort Leavenworth, I should say. Probably going to go right across that. Some small hail showing out of that particular system. This is becoming a line, as we talked about, and that's why we're starting to see the winds. This is radar indicated 60-mile-per-hour winds, possibly up to that, possibly up to, and then hail. But Lansing, okay, it's already past you. So let me move this a little bit. If radar might have been just a little bit old. So let's, the radar sweep comes in every 5 minutes, so it could be a little bit behind. So let me update this, and here you go. Bonner Springs, it's there. Edwardsville, you got about 4 minutes. Olathe, you got 40 minutes. Kansas City, right, moving into the heart at 8:45. Leawood, heading down here, Johnson County there, 8:48. Could head across and over into the northern, or at least the heart of Kansas City at 8:45, as I mentioned, but it is kind of tilted from northeast to southwest, so it could take a little bit longer for it to get to Arrowhead and also over towards Independence and Lee Summit by 9 o'clock if it holds together. So this is a severe thunderstorm warning. It is no longer considerable, but here it's flashing again. Let's see what's going on with this one. An update. It's still moving to 40 miles per hour, still radar indicated, still need to, the hail threat's observed. So they are getting hail of at least an inch out of part of this line. So that's why that is flashing to let you know, hey, we do have an actual observed severe hail coming out of this particular storm. And you can kind of see near Leavenworth, maybe between Tonganoxie and Lawrence and around Lawrence, that silver shows some of those areas that could be receiving that size hail. Melissa?
Here's a kind of large look at the line overall, because we saw two bits and pieces. They have now combined together. This is, as they continue to become more of a line, we're going to look more at a wind threat, as we continue to see this move towards the east, northeast. But I am going to zoom back in once again, take a look at the tornado warning, show you where that rotation is right now, and then be getting to your safe spot if I'm going to be calling out these specific areas. So it is likely already crossed 56 and 59th. It is now getting closer to Baldwin City. The scans we get are about every 5 minutes or so. So keep that in mind. We're likely already crossed 59, 56. We're now heading towards Baldwin City. So if you live in Baldwin City, be getting in your tornado safe spot and taking shelter. This looks to be still just on the county line. So we're talking just south of the county line, that's Franklin County, and then we're in southern Douglas County right now. So kind of traveling along the county line, we've got 56 is where we're running, and Baldwin City is going to be next. So be getting in your tornado safe place zone. Blackjack is going to be later on down the line. I'm going to see if I can go a little bit closer street level, get some cross streets out for you if we've got any. We've got 56, 59 already crossed that, I would assume. And then we're looking at in Baldwin City, High Street, 6th Street, as well as East 1700th Road, be getting in your tornado safe space spot, as this is going to be moving through portions of Baldwin City. So Baldwin City, all the way down to the county line, be getting in your tornado safe place. And then down the line, we're looking at Blackjack, going to be included as well as this moves off towards the east. So keep in mind, those scans are updated every couple of minutes. So we're going to continue to kind of go down the line to make sure you guys have some more lead time to get some space to get into your shelter spot. But looks like we just got a new update here with the tornado warning. Let's see if we've got any new, still moving east around 45 miles per hour. Looks like they reported a funnel cloud along Highway 59 along the Douglas County border at around 8:29. So kind of as I mentioned, it's along the county border right now, likely going to be still along the county border in between 56. So between 56, it crossed over 59, as I mentioned. So let's go back and take a look again. Here's our county line. Here's 56 and here's 59. So there was a funnel cloud. That does not mean that is on the ground. A funnel cloud is what occurs before it turns into a tornado. A funnel cloud is not a tornado until it touches the ground. So Baldwin City, be getting in your tornado safe spot. And then later on down the line, we're looking at Blackjack. This is just going to be along the southern Douglas County line. We're looking at northern Franklin County here. So northward, just in case, be getting in your tornado safe space spot. And then it's going to be moving along that county line, 56 towards Baldwin City and Blackjack. So we've got that kind of coming on down the line, moving 45 miles an hour. I'm going to jump this kind of east of 56 and 59 already. Along that kind of county line is where we're seeing that rotation. So we move it off towards the east. Baldwin City just about in 1, 2, 3, 4 minutes or so. There we go. But 8:39 Baldwin City, Blackjack 8:44. Be ready to be getting in your tornado safe place. Edgerton around 8:53. So keep in mind 8:34 right now. Some of us got a little extra lead time in Blackjack, as well as Edgerton Elementary School and Edgerton itself. So keep in mind, we have reports of a funnel cloud. So we'll be watching to see if the rotation is going to be tightening at any point here. So that's a look at the tornado warning. I want to send it over to Mike. Mike's kind of looking at some of the other warnings that are going on out there right now. Mike?
Yeah, let's go up to northern Missouri. Here we go. We've got a severe thunderstorm warning for Davies, Gentry, Harrison, and Worth. Here's the Iowa border. The reason why I'm taking a look at this one is because we have reports of damage out of this particular storm when it moved through Stanberry and Gentry County. He said numerous trees down, multiple large tree limbs or trees down, roof blown off a house, and reports of multiple buildings down. And that was just at 8 o'clock. So this is a very strong storm that has a history of producing damage from straight line winds. So let's take a look at the radar here. Let's get the radar on there. And you can kind of see the leading edge of it. Let me make sure that's on the best radar that we have. Maybe go over to Omaha and see if we get a little bit better picture of that. Nope, but this is moving off. You can see you've got to be careful with this as it moves through these areas. So here's Stanberry where they're talking about the damage went through. So it's this part of the storm that's moving between Albany and Bethany. That would make sense because you're seeing the hail right there also. So you're getting the strong updraft there, the strong downdraft moving right across 35 near Bethany. So watch out. You could have some really gusty winds out of this that could produce damage as it did back in Stanberry. Okay, so Just want to make sure everybody up in northern Missouri knows what's going on. I'll send it back to Melissa in the tornado warning.
Mike, before I get back to the tornado warning, I want to let you know, too, that the warning that's for portions of our western metro entering the 435 loop also has a tornado possible tag. So we're going to be watching for the possibility of rotation on this kind of leading edge of the storm as it enters into the metro. When we see lines like this occur, we see just a little notch. This is when we start talking about tornado spin-ups being a possibility with the line. Doesn't take much, could get a little bit of spin just as a notch. So we're going to be watching the leading edge of this line. Mike and I will continue to watch it, but I did want to go back to the tornado warning once again. Now we have crossed over. Here's a look at the storm itself. As you can see, heavy rain now moving in Baldwin City on the southern edge of Douglas County, and then lighter rain, pockets of heavier rain along that kind of northern fringe of Franklin County now. I'm going to take a look at where we're looking at our radar indicated rotation. Likely Baldwin City right now, still kind of along 56, so Blackjack needs to be getting in their tornado safe place. Likely seeing that rotation right now through Baldwin City, East High Street, 6th Street, and then East 1700th Road. So still kind of traveling along 56 and along the county line, and then would be moving towards Blackjack next here in a couple of minutes. So keep in mind, only get these radar scans every couple of minutes, so it could be past Baldwin City at this point. 56 is where it's likely traveling along, and then it will be crossing the cross streets in Blackjack and then East 2200th Road at 56. So we'll be watching as this is moving off towards the east. And right now, kind of a little bit of an interesting structure happening too on this specific part of the storm. Let's just go down and take a look at what's going on north just to double check. But right now that rotation, more likely Baldwin City right now. You need to be in your tornado safe place, and then heading towards Blackjack here pretty shortly within the next couple of minutes. So you need to be getting in your sheltered area. It's going to go along 56 and then along likely the kind of border of Douglas and Franklin County. That's where we see some reports, of a funnel cloud. And keep in mind, a funnel cloud is not a tornado. A tornado occurs when the funnel cloud is touching the ground. So we're going to watch for tightening of rotation here on our Doppler winds, but just wanted to let you know that as we continue to watch the one tornado warning, but overall, basically this entire line now has
impressive.
severe warnings. Yes.
Yes, and then there's that new one that you see that you're showing. That's until what, 9:15, and you can see the bowing out of it. Let me show you a track real quick. Edwardsville at 8:39, Shawnee 8:46, Kansas City 8:50. Kansas City, Missouri, 8:54, Arrowhead 9:01. So those times are pretty much the same as we showed before as when we were initially looking at this storm as it's now moving into the metro. You can see here's 435, here's 70, here's the Legends, here's the airport. So Leavenworth getting pounded, the entire Amelia Earhart Highway, K7, if you will, getting pounded from just near DeSoto up towards Bonner Springs, all the way up towards Leavenworth. And this is what we've been watching, not only the tornado threat that Melissa's been talking about, but now this thing has moved, it's accelerating. It's moving up to 50 miles per hour. And as the storm starts to gain some momentum, that means it can push out a little bit faster winds also. So that's why we're concerned with the storm. So they are moving, again, off to the northeast. I mean, the whole line's moving to the east slowly, but the storms with themselves are moving off to the northeast at about 50 miles per hour. So severe thunderstorm warning right along Interstate 35 in Missouri, almost all the way down to Gardner in Kansas. So please, it's time to execute that safety plan that we've been talking about since Sunday when we first talked about how this was going to be a very active day. All right, we still have that tornado warning. I'm going to send it back to Melissa.
We're still looking at portions of Douglas, Franklin County. It's kind of been on, as I mentioned, that county line, in between the county line and 56 highway. So haven't seen a new update come in. We know it's going to be happening shortly here, but still moving east 45 miles per hour. It is radar indicated, and we're looking east of Baldwin City now, heading towards Blackjack. So Blackjack be getting in your tornado safe place. It's likely going to be right along currently Blackjack as well as 56, and then East 220, 2200th Road. There we go. So we're looking at cross streets of 56 and 2200th Road. Likely still going to be traveling along 56, and then we're looking at Edgerton being crossed along the cross streets eventually as this moves off towards the east. So we're looking at Edgerton, and then this cross street is going to be 56 and Edgerton Road would be where it is headed next. So we're looking at this along 56. It's still traveling, kind of has been around 56 and the county line, basically, which is this black line right here on the southern portion. So around 56, the county line, and then traveling towards 56 towards Edgerton next, going to be crossing just towards the south of Clearfield, and then likely going to be moving towards Edgerton, and then eventually what we expect to see is probably a continuum between 56 and then 35, I-35. So crossing over between the two of those. I did want to look to get a kind of bearings of our wide look right now. Here's what's going on. We've got warnings all up this line. We've seen it turn into a line. Now we're looking at more of a kind of course, we've got a tornado warning, but we've got more of a wind threat that is about to unfold as we're going to see kind of bow echoes, bowing segments, which indicate to us kind of looks like a bow, literally a bow and arrow. So that's what we're looking at for the leading edge of strong winds. But upon leading edges of lines like this, we could get some tornado spin-ups to occur pretty quickly. They go up and down pretty fast. So we've got to be ready for the event that happens, of course. But we have a tornado possible tag right now on the portions of the storms that are going through almost now through the Kansas City metro. So here's a look at the specific part of the line that is moving through the metro. We've got the heaviest rain right now on the leading edge, DeSoto from Bonner Springs up towards Platte City, just basically up to the 435 loop. So light rain already occurring in Parkville, hasn't crossed over to the 435 loop yet. But as you can see, it's not a straight line. It's a little bit more jagged. We're going to look for just little indents here of where there could be the possibility of rotation for tornado spin-ups to occur. So when you see kind of this lighter yellow looking outline, that is where we've got the potential for tornado possible tag, and that's why it has a different coloring. So we're going to be watching what is moving through the metro very closely. Of course, this specific storm anyway has regular severe thunderstorm hazards. We've got 60-mile-per-hour winds and quarter-sized hail possible too. When we get
Melissa?
Yes.
I'm looking inside and I'm looking at the winds using the velocity, and we're getting up to 91 to 92 mile-per-hour winds possible along the leading edge, at least up in the storm. You can see it right there and right there. So that's where 435, that's the Legends. This is heading down a little bit farther to the south. This is 435, this is 35. So you can see we're getting into Lenexa, we're getting close to Shawnee. Those areas are gonna get hit by a blast of winds, just like Kansas City, Kansas is gonna get hit. Almost the entire county of Wyandotte and the northern part of Johnson County, which is right here. That, be ready. I mean, those winds are coming. They are going to be strong, and if they are anywhere close to this, we're going to have some significant damage. And this goes all the way up. Here's Leavenworth. I'm sorry, no, that's not Leavenworth. Leavenworth's back over there. This is 435. This is the airport. That's 635. Sorry about that. So you can see crossing the river from Wyandotte and Leavenworth counties over into Missouri and Platte County, you've got some pretty strong storms coming your way to Smithville Lake, Platte City, that area. That area is also looking pretty ominous when you look at the winds coming out of this system. In fact, let me go up there and let's take a look at what we're possibly, nice scan right there. Let's see what we're getting out of this one. So that one's not too bad. This one heading over towards Weatherby, that's pretty nasty. And another nasty part of this storm heading towards Platte City. So as we've talked about and as you talked about, this was going to turn into a line of storms. The threat was going to be more in the way of straight line winds, and that's exactly what we're seeing out of this. But again, you've been watching those notches, those inflow notches, where possibly the wind is coming in this way and turning around that way, and that's where we're going to see the spin-ups if we see them. So Melissa's been doing a good job of watching those, so I'm going to send it back over to her. But remember, there's still a straight line wind threat with this also.
There is. And you know, when we see lines like this is typically what we see. We typically see very strong straight line winds, the potential for kind of quick up and down tornado spin ups. We look for just little notches where there is some pockets of wind in the upper levels that are going away from the radar and going toward. So we're going to be watching to see if we see any of those notches. But right now, we kind of see the leading edge of this as we just got a new scan in. Now we're on the inside the 435 loop heading towards Parkville. Along the leading edge of this, we're going to see strong winds. As Mike had mentioned, strong winds were warned for 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts right now, as well as quarter-sized hail. The lightning's confined really much all towards the backside of the storm, but it's going to be little notches that we're going to watch. I am going to switch it from our radar to our storm relative velocity to see if I could possibly see any maybe little notches that we could be watching, and then I'll get back towards the tornado warned storm that's down towards our south for portions of northern Franklin as well as portions of Douglas County.
Okay, quick heads up, that storm that's moving through Kansas City, Kansas, just pea-sized hail right now. That's being reported out of that. So that's some good news. So again, it's the winds, the straight line winds that we continue to watch. Back to you.
Yeah, well, here's a look too. We're looking at right now our storm relative velocity, which is where we're seeing the possible rotation there. This is kind of how you could see a good look at just kind of how not straight the line is, but little notches that are happening. So we're going to be watching on the northern side of Parkville, and then on the northern side of Shawnee. We'll be watching these two specific areas north of Parkville and Shawnee. As I mentioned, this is a tornado possible tag. It is not a tornado warning. We're monitoring that potential for there to be some spin ups to occur. So I'm going to take another look back at what's going on just to the south as the tornado warning continues for portions of Douglas and Franklin counties. Also, on the left side of your screen, we're looking out at the storms that are moving through, or at least on the western side now of Kansas City in the 435 loop. And then this is 70. Here, I'm going to step off the screen so I can get a closer look. This is 70 on the lower camera, the scout camera. You can see a lot of cars have pulled over. They're going a lot slower and their hazards are on. So you can see the rain and the lightning. You can see the water pooling on the road because you can see it kind of flowing in the wind. So winds are picking up. We know that there's a possibility for 60-mile-per-hour winds, quarter-sized hail, and some spin-ups. I want to get back to the tornado warning here and give you kind of latest update because now it's 8:48. The warning continues until 9 p.m. So we've got about 12 more minutes left on this warning. I want to make sure we didn't miss an update here.
I see an update for winds, power outages, those straight line winds we talked about. So one of the things we always talk about is make sure you have everything charged, because once you lose power, your phone, your tablet, those are going to be the ways that you can get severe weather warnings, and you can continue to watch us as we're streaming this on YouTube and also on Facebook for sure. But power outages, okay, about 1,000 people out. Power outages at 102 Riverview, 88th and Schwartz, and around 78th Street in Wyandotte County. That is from the emergency manager. So those straight line winds are creating some havoc as they move through Wyandotte County, and they're heading off to the right here. You see the leading edge coming right towards 635, and that is what's going to be this whole Boeing Center here from Weatherby Lake down to Overland Park. That's what's just triggered this new severe thunderstorm warning. So are you on that one, or do you want me to take a look at it real quick?
You can take that. I'm going to give an update because there is good news that came out of portions of Franklin and Douglas County. The tornado warning has expired. However, you still are in a severe thunderstorm warning with a considerable tag. 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts and nickel-sized hail are going to be possible. However, Mike had just mentioned there is that new update that came out for portions of the Kansas City Metro. And as you can see, we've got a white box now around the Kansas City Metro. We're looking at a considerable tag. Mike, is it 70-mile-per-hour winds?
It is.
Okay. 70-mile-per-hour winds, and I assume quarter-sized hail too?
Oh, you nailed it.
Okay. So quarter-sized hail and 70-mile-per-hour winds. We mentioned this is going to be mainly more of a wind threat here as we go through the next couple of hours as this moves throughout the area. So I'm going to zoom in, kind of move and toggle our screen to a look back here at the Metro. That considerable tag continues until 9:30, and this is moving pretty quickly. They've been moving between 40, 45 miles per hour. This is 45 miles per hour. So not only is it going to be in and out fast, it's going to be approaching you fast, and it's going to have strong winds with it on the likely the leading edge. So let's kind of diagnose what's going on here in and around the metro. I'm going to turn the auto query off, and I'm going to switch this to our winds. I do want to note that we're still watching the leading edge of the line for the possibility of spin-up tornadoes. So we're still going to be monitoring that. I am going to quickly put on our winds first to take a look at how strong those winds could be. As you can see, we've got pockets of kind of brighter colors that are picking up just on the leading edge, crossing over likely. We're looking at heading into Roland Park and then 635. So kind of right here, as you see where the green is meeting the red, we're 635. It's crossed over Shawnee. The leading edge is where we're seeing kind of stronger wind gusts pick up right now, south of Parkville, heading into Roland Park. So let's see if we can put a query on here, see how strong the radar is estimating these winds to be.
Especially between Bonner Springs and Olathe. You see that?
Yes, I see that. I'm going to go back to the backside too. I want to get this leading edge first. 635 in Merriam is this camera we're looking at here on the right. Let me back up out of here. So 635 in Merriam, you can see, one, the trees blowing in the wind. You could also see a lot of rainfall, lightning, visibility is down. A lot of people have their hazards on as well. So we're looking at strong winds moving 635 heading into Roland Park, heading into portions of the kind of western side, I should say. I'm sorry, where'd you say this was, John? Okay, 635 at Midland Drive is where we're Merriam Drive, excuse me, is where we're looking at. So you can see trees kind of moving in the wind. You can see the wind moving the rain too. It's kind of going diagonal. A lot of the cars have hazards on too. So likely seeing strong winds with this, and it's now looking like we just got a new radar scan. So let's take a look back at our radar scan. I'm going to zoom in. Likely Roland Park seeing strong winds right now. And let's take a query to see. We know this is warned for 70-mile-per-hour winds. Crossing over, okay, so velocity around 55-ish in pockets, crossing 35 in Mission. Between 50 and 60 miles per hour on this leading edge. Then we're going to go back towards 435, where we are seeing even brighter colors picking up. But I want to get you ahead on the leading edge of this is where we're seeing some of the stronger wind gusts back towards Overland Park. I'm going to zoom in a little bit closer, and then we are going to go back towards the west. So likely 69 Highway, Mission Hills, Westwood, over towards State Line. Going to be seeing those stronger winds here shortly. Just going to be crossing soon over State Line. So we're really zoomed in here. Maybe I'll zoom in a little bit more, and then we'll go back out towards the west. Here's 69. This kind of white line we've got here in Argentine, east of Argentine. We're looking kind of 169 next, and then kind of up the 35 corridor, Roland Park, Mission Woods, Westport, you're going to be next to see some stronger winds. Let me zoom out and show you the other pockets of stronger winds we're seeing. Let me switch back. We're looking at 435 east of Zara, gusts to around 60 miles per hour. And keep in mind, we're still all within this warned spot of the storm. Let me toggle off a different radar here because it's trying to go in between the two. So we're changing colors. I know that's hard to see. There we go. So Zara, we're looking at possible gusts. Keep in mind, we're warned for 70 miles per hour. This is 65 towards Zara in between 435 Craig and Zara south of K52. And we'll go a little bit more further towards the southwest. Now we're seeing some brighter spots starting to pick up too, south of K7. 60-mile-per-hour winds as well possible here. Keep in mind the storm's warned for 70. That's why we've got the considerable tag. Now we're west of Olathe. I'm going to zoom in real close. We're in between K10 and K7 south of DeSoto. We're just towards the northwest of Olathe. Stronger winds would next be heading towards Craig, and then in Zara already crossing over 435 for strong winds. So once again, here we are. We're in Roland Park. Our station's in Fairway Roland Park. We can hear the rain starting to pick up here. Still looking out at the cameras, you can see the torrential downpours that are happening. Mike, you want to talk about that?
Lewis and Clark Viaduct on 70. That's what you're looking at right there. And look at it shaking so much it can't zero in. This rain is so heavy that it's blurring everything. We just seen what is a mess of heavy rain and strong winds out of this at the Lewis and Clark Viaduct on 70. So let's take a quick look if we can go back. Go ahead, Melissa.
Yeah, we got a new tornado warning. As we had mentioned, we're going to be watching this line for tornado spin-ups to happen, and this is, they go up quickly. So now we've got a tornado warning. This is for portions of the northern side of the 435 loop. We're looking at Clay, Platte, Ray counties. The tornado warning goes until 9:45. So it's moving east around 40 miles per hour. Quarter-sized hail also possible in this specific zone. So here we are in Kansas City. Here's I-70. We're looking at Liberty, Excelsior Springs, included this tornado warning, likely east of Weatherby Lake, crossing pretty much, I would assume soon, state line. So what we're going to do, we're going to zoom in and take a look at what's going on right now in that tornado warning and kind of give a street-by-street view of where we're looking at some rotation for that possibility of a tornado. So east around 40 miles per hour is where we're looking. I'm going to zoom in a little bit closer here.
Near Lake Wacomas or Gladstone?
Yes, we're probably just north of Gladstone. So let's switch. We'll take a look at our storm relative velocity. Let me switch over our radars. Here we go. All right, so we're looking just north of Gladstone. This rotation likely going to be just north of Barry, and we're in between Nashua and then cross streets of 169 and then 152. So if you've been, I know it's been a very active severe weather season already. If you were watching maybe last week, of course, it's much more pronounced when we look at radar indicated rotation. When we see supercells, when we see lines like this, it's just a quick little notch. That notch right now over Nashua, it's going to be traveling along 291 and 435. So this is moving off towards the east, likely that rotation going south of Winter. Let's see if I can get a little closer and get some better cross streets for you. And notice that we've also got, maybe a few spots in each specific tornado warning we're going to be watching for the possibility of rotation. Right now, the one that is standing out to me is towards Nashua. I'm also watching just towards the east of Gashland, and this would also be at 152 Northeast Berry Road, and then would be crossing over to 435 next. So we've got a few spots that we're going to watch for rotation, so I'll go kind of in between each one. Mike, what was that update down towards the south?
It was a considerable tag for 70-mile-per-hour winds from Miami and Anderson counties.
Okay. I wanted to make sure because it came up it looks a little different because they're layered on, and I wanted to make sure it wasn't another tornado warning. So
let me double check.
Okay. Right now, Nashua is where we're looking at kind of more the prominent rotation along 435. And then this is North Woodland Avenue. So if you live along 291 North Woodland Avenue, east of Nashua, beginning in your tornado safe spot, as this moves east, likely going to travel north of 108th Street, northeast 108th Street, crossing 291 and 435. I'm going to zoom back out again. Those areas need to be getting in their tornado safe place. I'm going to make sure to see if we're not really seeing any other spots that we've got to watch here within this kind of line. As we mentioned, those spin-ups are, small in nature overall, and there could be a few kind of locations we could be watching for spin-ups along the line in the tornado warning. So right now, though, it looks like Nashua is where I'm seeing kind of the stronger rotation right now. Let me zoom back in here. If you are along 291 east of Nashua, 435 east of Nashua, and then towards the west of northeast Mount Olivet Road, be getting in your tornado safe place, as well as northeast 108th Street, cross streets of North Woodland Avenue and 435. That eventually our northeast 108th Street will run into 291. So likely looking in that vicinity, be getting in your tornado safe place. These will kind of pulse up and down when we think about these kind of spin ups that are possible. They kind of can pulse up and down.
I got a track on it if you want to take a look.
Mike, I'll send it to you and then we'll take a look at this city cam.
Oh.
Mike has a track on it, so I'm going to send it over to Mike with the track.
Yeah, here we go. Little Shoal School at 909. So if you live in the bend of 435 where it goes from north to west and starts heading over towards the airport, that's where it is right now. Let me move this just a little bit more forward, as it looks like we just got a new update and it's right on that bend. And let me back out just a little bit. Okay. And so you can see Roosterville at 909. It's 902 right now. Chandler at 916, Mosby School at 919, and Stockdale getting over here at about 920, and Midwest National Air Center at about 924. So it's going to cross over 30 between Kearney and likely Liberty. 69 in play, 33 maybe in play also. So that's where it's going right now. It's moving to the east at 40 miles per hour. Melissa?
Thanks. I want to send it over to this video that we've got, or excuse me, our tracker that's out too. I've been looking out on the left side. This is not our tracker, but this is at 435 and Woodland Avenue. We were just talking about this. We're looking 435 here on my screen, and we've got Woodland Avenue here too. So as you can see, you cannot see really much of anything out there. The rain's coming down sideways. You see some cars that are passing through. However, there's so much rain. You see a lot of lightning ongoing out there now. So keep in mind that not only do we have the tornado warning, we know that there's 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts possible within this, strong straight line winds. Too, it's just these little notches that can occur that need to be taken seriously, of course, but we're looking kind of at now on the kind of northern side back towards Winter, as Mike had mentioned. It's going to be heading towards Roosterville. We're looking along 435 and then traveling likely along 291, going to be crossing Northeastern Avenue towards Winter, heading towards Roosterville. So we've got what we're watching for that radar indicated rotation. I did want to let you know too that you're likely probably seeing really strong winds on the leading edge of this. If I also had to guess, I want to kind of take a look at that quickly, and then we'll go back to... It's
picking up speed too. It's moving now at 60 miles per hour.
Okay, so it is moving a lot faster.
Yeah,
all right.
And Platte County's been taken out of the tornado warning.
Okay, that's good for Platte County. Still seeing that rotation, as we had mentioned, a few little spots that we're watching. Looks like we just lost the latest radar scan. Let me try to fix it here. So still just crossing 435, and now we're looking right here. That's where we're looking at that rotation. 435, looks like we got a new scan too. We're 435 heading towards Roosterville, be getting in your sheltered area just south of Winter. So eventually we're looking at Chandler too down the line. I'm going to get a little bit closer, get some cross streets here.
Hey, can I jump in real quick?
Yeah, go ahead,
Just
Mike.
to let you know, we had a 61-mile-per-hour wind gust at the downtown airport.
Okay.
So even though we're focused on this area right here, don't forget we still have that bulging line that is moving through the eastern side. It's right along 435 right now. This is the bulging line that brought the downtown airport over here the 61-mile-per-hour gust. So even though we have that nice notch up there, we still have a much bigger area that could possibly be producing damaging winds. So we want to keep an eye on that. In fact, if we have a second, I'll put a track on it and just give everybody, let me kind of back this over here so I can put a proper track on it. And we're going to put a big one on here. Let's just go across the whole front of this. and headed off. This is in the next 30 minutes. So Arrowhead at 9:05, Independence 9:11, Riverbend 9:13. It is 9:06 right now. Unity Village 9:15, Blue Springs 9:22. You're starting to get over into this area. So that is also a very large area that could be producing some dangerous winds. In fact, this area, if we're looking at this, that's about a 20-mile path of potentially damaging winds that are moving right near the river, 70, and in these two areas. So we're going to keep an eye on that. I'm going to send it back to Melissa so she can talk more about the tornado warning.
The tornado warning, too, that's on the northern side of the metro. I kind of wanted to get a lay of the land here, just kind of reset of what's happening. A line is moving through the area. As you can see, it's stretching all the way basically along 35 right now, from Kansas up to Iowa, and it's right along 35. We've got basically the entire line that is under severe warnings of some sort. There is a tornado warning, of course. We'll get to that here in just a second. But there are white boxes around all of these. We're turning more now into a wind event with isolated tornado spin-ups. The white boxes are considerable tags. 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts are possible. We have seen 60-plus-mile-per-hour winds already be confirmed at the downtown airport. So that's kind of the lay of the land right now. But I'm going to zoom in to the tornado warning that is in place for portions of the northern side of the metro. It's now for Clay and Ray counties until 9:45. So moving east 60 miles per hour. This is moving very, very quickly. This line has picked up a lot of speed here, and we're looking at radar indicated rotation. So if I am going to zoom in now and take a look at what's going on when we think about our velocity, and it looks like our couplet is now northwest of Winter. And it looks like they just trimmed back the tornado warning too. So Winter is now out of the tornado warning. So Winter, you are in the clear. The warned area continues all the way towards Excelsior Springs and Kearney. I know it gets a little bit hard to see with all of these boxes that are on. So the rotation right now, as you can see, right towards the east of Winter. So we're going to be here heading towards the northeast. It's going to be crossing over 35. We're going to go street level here quickly. I'm also going to be watching what's happening towards Roosterville too. But right now, the more prominent rotation is towards the east of Winter right now. So let's zoom in.
We just got an update. It's still radar indicated.
Okay.
In max hail 1 inch. And I did want to mention, going back really quick to that line of wind that is moving through Wyandotte County, which is under BPU, 3,500 people without power. Evergy's got 2,000. So already this storm has produced 5,500 at least customers that do not have power right now because of the strong straight line winds out of this pretty big looking bow echo that you can see is stretching from Liberty, Independence to Raytown right now. Here's 470, here's Lee Summit, Blue Springs, 24, the river, Missouri City. All of you are in that path of potential 70-mile-per-hour winds. So please seek shelter. All right, back to you.
So the tornado warning, once again, if you're in Winter, you are in the clear. However, keep in mind, we still have 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts possible and quarter-sized hail. So I wanted to kind of give a wider look before we really zoom in once again, because I'm going to go street level here for the tornado warning that is in place. So I'm going to zoom out, get you a little lay of the land. Here we are in the tornado warning. It is now east of Winter. The best kind of look at rotation where I'm seeing is going to be along Missouri Route A, and then 92 is where it's going to be cross rate. So 92, Missouri Route A. Now we just got a new radar scan. It's a little bit further towards the east. It's going to be crossing over 35. Kearney needs to be getting in their tornado safe place. If you live along kind of 33 and 92 highway, this is where it's going to be headed next. It's going to cross over 35. It's going to be headed towards 33 and 92 highway. Kearney be getting in your tornado safe spot here as this is going to be moving off towards the east. This part of the storm not moving quite as quickly, moving around 40, 45 miles per hour, but that's where we're seeing the rotation right now. So we've got the rotation kind of going to be crossing over 35, 33 towards Kearney and then traveling along close or maybe just south of 92. So if you're in Kearney, be getting in your tornado safe spot. If you live along 33, as well as the cross streets of 92, so 92, 33, and 35. In this kind of look, this is where we're going to be seeing that rotation headed next. Mike?
Yeah, I wanted you to take a look at something with me down around River Bend, just to the south. We're seeing one of those notches develop once again just south of River Bend. We've got a bulge of air moving this way, which can create a little rotation over 291, Missouri Highway 291 and Missouri Highway 210. So we're going to keep an eye on this as it heads towards Atherton, Missouri City, and Blue Mills. This is the river right here. That's 210. So that just caught my eye because it looked a little bit like what you were looking at, and this is exactly what we're trying to find when we look at the Doppler winds to see these quick spin ups. Remember, we have to wait 5 minutes for these scans to come in. So as soon as we see something like this, we want to tell you about it and just make sure you're prepared, because even if that is not a tornado, there's still those straight line winds that are possibly around 70 miles per hour. So let me I'm going to put a track on this real quick just in case something is going on right here. So let's go to the east. Let's go about 30 miles, and you can see it's going to hover. It's going to hug the river. So Cobbler 914, Placedale School 918. It's 912 right now. Academy School 922. Sibley 928, and Oric 937. Something we'll keep an eye on. Not saying that it could turn out to something, but it looks like there is some potential there. Melissa?
Thanks, Mike. We're going to continue to watch that spot. And then just north of the tornado warning we were watching is a new tornado warning. Keep in mind, we're looking at these spin ups occurring. All it takes is a little notch here on the radar. So the tornado warning we were just tracking, that is for portions of Clay and Ray County till 9:45. That's the one on the lower part of your screen. It includes Excelsior Springs as well as Excelsior Estates, Kearney. Up towards the north, the new tornado warning is for Caldwell, Clay, Clinton, and Ray counties. This continues until 10 p.m. So I'm going to zoom into this tornado warning here that's to the north, and then they're pretty close enough that I'll probably be able to see them both in the same screen for our radar. So basically, as you can see, right now, we're looking at the radar indicated rotation. Here's both of the polygons, as you can see. So right now, Kearney needs to be in their tornado safe place. This is crossing over 35 now, likely going to continue to track, crossing over 69 highway, as well as traveling along 92. So the rotation going to be going along 92. We'll be crossing 69 highway. So places like Excelsior Estates, Excelsior Springs needs to be getting in their tornado safe spot. I'm going to go up towards the storm towards the north, zoom in a little bit closer into street level here, and we'll take a look and diagnose what's going on towards the tornado warning to the north. Lily, likely seeing that rotation overhead right now, going to be crossing over South Sea Highway, and we'll be traveling along that county line. So likely Lily needs to be in your tornado safe spot. Rotation would likely be overhead right now. We'll be crossing SC Highway, and then later down the line, this is Missouri 33. So we're going to go from Lily. It's going to head up towards the northeast. Guyton needs to be getting in their tornado safe spot. And then we'll be crossing over 33, eventually 35, heading towards Converse. So we're looking at these two tornado warnings, and I'm going to send it over to Mike here in a second because it looks like they issued another tornado warning too at that same spot we were looking at. So let me go back to Lily. You need to be in your tornado safe spot. This is going to cross over 33. Guyton needs to be getting in their tornado safe place, your shelter. It'll be crossing 35. Heading towards Converse next. So be getting in your tornado safe place zone as quickly as possible. Mike, over to you.
All right, let's take a look at that area I was just showing you that showed signs of rotation. Sure enough, there's now a tornado warned storm, and it's for Clay, Jackson, and Lafayette and Ray until this is going to go out. Let me double check how long and how fast this is moving. So the storm's moving off to the east at 55 miles per hour. You're under a tornado warning until 9:45. So we need to seek shelter. If you hadn't already with what I just talked about, now is the time to believe me and go ahead and seek that shelter. Let's kind of go down to street level here. Around Cobbler and Atherton, that's where it looks to be the best, maybe Blue Mills in this area right here. Let's see if I can go even closer in and see if we get some streets. There we go. So around North Curtis Road, Eaton Road, East Courtney Atherton Road, heading up towards Main Street in Atherton. This is where the rotation looks most likely. It's moving off to the east at 55, so you do not have much time to find your safe spot, but find it and calmly find it and just get there as quickly as you can. Again, this is going to be a lot of radar indicated tornado warnings out of these systems because of the fast nature of these moving, and they're not your typical big mesocyclone tornadoes that we have out of supercell thunderstorms. So radar indicated tornado moving to the east at about 55 miles per hour. You are under that tornado warning until 9:45. Back to you.
I'm going to go back to the two tornado warnings that are to the north. I've got them both on my screen. We're going to go to the one towards the south first. Clay, Ray counties, you are included in this. This includes Excelsior Springs. The tornado warning is until 9:45. Keep in mind, the entire line basically at this point is warned for 70-mile-per-hour straight line winds. So no, if you are not in a tornado warning, you're still likely going to see strong winds on the leading edge of this storm. So overall, we're going to go zoom in on the storm that is just towards the south. Kearney needed to be in their tornado safe place. That rotation basically on top of them. I'm going to zoom in, get a little bit closer for street level here. It's going to be crossing likely 33 and traveling along 92, moving out of Kearney. So keep in mind, we only get these scans every 5 minutes or so. So we're going to go later on down the line. So if you live east of Kearney and you live crossing from 33 to 92, be getting in your tornado safe place. Even if you live 92 and 69, in between 92 and 69 east of Kearney and just towards the west of Excelsior Springs, be getting in your tornado safe zone now. Eventually, this is going to be moving towards Excelsior Springs. This is going to be moving towards Excelsior Estates and then Crystal Lake. So it looks like it's probably going to jog along pretty much, if it continues on the same track. 92 would then cross over 69. So here's 92. Crossing over 69, Excelsior Estates, Excelsior Springs, be getting in your tornado safe space now. I'm going to go up towards the storm that is just towards the north. Now we're looking at Lily. We are going to be that rotation over Lily right now. It's likely have already moved over Lily and is in between County Road CC and South Sea Highway. Gallatin, you need to be getting in your tornado safe place. It'll be crossing over 33, that radar indicated rotation, and just on the northern side of Holt. So we're looking at 33 and Southeast PP Highway. I'm blocking it, so I apologize, but here's 33 and Southeast PP Highway. You need to be getting in your tornado safe spot now as well. So Gallatin be getting there. If you live along 33 and in between South Sea Highway, it looks like they just cut this warning a little bit further towards the east, which lets me know, of course, we are likely going to get an update here shortly, but I'm going to send it back over to Mike to take a look at that third tornado warning.
Yeah, the Weather Service just sent out, and they said right around Buckner. That's where the southern side of this, we're starting to see some rotation. That's where the tornado could possibly be, because again, it's radar indicated, and this thing is moving so fast. It's moving to the east at 55 miles per hour. So let me make sure I've got my track set for 55 miles per hour. Not 556, that's too much. 55. All right, now let me put a track right there. You know, the notch looks a little bit south of there, at least on this radar. It looks like it's more right there, but there's also one right here, but they were saying it was closer to Buckner. Here's what I'm gonna do.
I think do both.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna do. I think that's a good idea. So let's do both. Let's move this one back up to here, which is just north of the river, right there, just to the east of Missouri City. If you live in Missouri City, we're on YouTube, we're on Facebook. Leave us a note. Tell us what you saw so we can pass it on to everybody else that, hey, this is what Missouri City saw. This is what's coming your way. We'd sure appreciate that. It would really help us keep people safe. So Oric, 9:24. You got about 4 minutes till it's there. Lillard School, 9:27. Fleming, 9:28. Fitch School, 9:31. Henrietta, 9:35. Okay, so you have a little bit more time. You have about 15 minutes to get to that. Now let me pull this down. Just because I'm seeing something right here, it may not be much, but want to make sure that we're keeping an eye on all these notches. So Napoleon at 9:30, PM Fairview School, excuse me, at 9:32, Waterloo 9:32, Wellington 9:35. So this is moving rather quickly east at 55 miles per hour. And as Melissa mentioned, we continue to watch this entire line possibly put out. Look at how it's just bowing there from Lee Summit up to Excelsior Springs. So the possibility of 60 to 70 mile per hour winds in Excelsior Springs is in 2 minutes. In Grain Valley, it's 9:26. It's about 5 minutes. Oak Grove, 9:32. Wellington, Richmond. So this whole area from Lake Lotawana all the way up to Excelsior Springs, that wind is knocking on your door. You need to seek shelter right now. So that's a look at the tornado warning. I'll keep looking at that one. I know you're looking at the other two. I'll send it back to you.
Thanks, Mike. Keep in mind, too, if you're in the metro, especially on the Missouri side, you're likely getting very torrential rain, lots of lightning, strong wind gusts, 60 to 70 miles an hour are possible. Just wanted to show that here, too. Saw in the chat that there were some sirens that were going off in Midtown. I would assume that's going to be for those 70 mile per hour wind gusts and the considerable tag. Sometimes they do, of course, issue the sirens in the event of considerable tag situations, which is what we're seeing here. So just wanted to let those people know that if you are hearing the sirens, know that it's going to be not for a tornado, but for a strong storm with a considerable tag, 70 mile per hour winds, quarter-sized hail possible. So I wanted to get that in the metro first. Now we're going to the north. We're back on the 2 tornado warnings I've been tracking. The one we're going to go to first, that is going to be for Caldwell, Clinton, and Ray counties. It's until 10. And then the one that's down towards the south, moving through Excelsior Springs for Clay and Ray, goes till 9:45. So we're going to kind of zoom in on both of those here first. Actually, let's go to the storm to the north. Looks like looks like they just canceled the tornado warning for Excelsior Springs. So that's good news, too. When we see these spin-ups happen, they likely go up quick. They come down quick as well. However, there are circumstances that's not always the case. But we may see them go up and go down, may not be as long kind of, warnings as we have expected to see, especially after the last couple of weeks. So let's go up to the storm. We're looking at Holt. Holt, that radar indicated rotation is right towards the north, going to be crossing 33. Guyton needs to be in their tornado safe place zone now. Let's zoom in if I can get even closer. We're southeast Mohawk Drive, south of Guyton. So if you live along southeast Mohawk Drive and 33, Missouri 33, beginning in your tornado safe spot, as well as southeast V Highway. This is going to go possibly into Guyton. So Guyton, get in your shelter spot. And then this will be crossing 35, southeast V Highway, headed towards Converse later on down the line. So this is where it's going to be going next. Converse, be getting in your shelter spot as well, because this is going to be moving. These have all been moving pretty quickly. So going to be crossing 33 here shortly, and then kind of hovering around southeast V Highway, heading towards Converse, crossing over 35. So be getting in your sheltered spot. We're going to watch the kind of leading edge again of these lines. Here's a look at what's going on out there, a wide view, a reset. Here's what's going on. We've got the line all the way up from our northern counties, all the way down towards the southwest. We've got Anderson and Franklin counties that are included in a considerable tag. We've got the considerable tag for severe storms that are moving through the metro right now. This is where we're seeing the strongest bowing segment, which means to us strongest wind gusts are coming out of this, because it's kind of like a bow and arrow. That's why we call it a bowing segment. But along these lines, we're seeing little notches. We have got the 2 tornado warnings. So I'm going to go back down to the other tornado warning, and then I'll go to Mike to talk a little bit more about what's going on in the metro. So it looks like he's working on that now. So let's zoom it back in to the other tornado warning that's in place. So keep in mind, we had just talked about the one that's to the north. Now we're going a little bit further towards the south. Oric, Richmond, Hardin included in this tornado warning. More specifically, this will continue until 9:45. So it's 9:25 right now. This is Ray County. It is east of Missouri City. Missouri City not included in the, of course, in the warning, but wanted to let you know still torrential heavy rainfall and gusty winds occurring there. Let's then go down street level and take a look at our radar indicated rotation, and then we will go back up to the storm that is to the north. So looks like if we're going to see that radar rotation, that potential of a tornado, let me just edit this once again. Just a little bit outside the box, yeah. So Sibley looks like it's kind of going to be crossing, or excuse me, this is not crossing. This is just south of Missouri 210. So Sibley will be crossing over. Let me try to get a closer look of a cross street. Floyd, Oric, this is in this vicinity that we're looking at. So Sibley, it's going to be going towards 210. And then Orich, excuse me, and then likely north of Floyd. So Orich be getting in your tornado safe spot along 210, and then later on down the line, we look up 210, likely north of Fleming, north of Floyd, and we'll be going, let's see if I could get this street here, we'll be eventually Highway T and 210 would be the cross streets, and West Highway T. So once it gets past kind of Oric, and then it will be crossing over 210 in between West Highway T and 210, headed towards, looks like we got a new update too, so it's a little bit north now of Oric. Looks like it's going to go just north now of 210, and then in between 210, so Richmond, be getting ready to get in your tornado safe spot too. So we've got those two tornado warnings that are in place. Here's a look at those two. And then I'm going to send it over to Mike right now to kind of give you a look at what's going on with the considerable tag that's in the metro. Mike?
Yeah, Sibley, I mean, that was just an old scan. So, that's what happens when you only get these every 5 minutes.
Yeah.
All right, the Chiefs are about three picks away from their pick. The draft's going on right now. I think it's in Pittsburgh, the NFL draft. And even the Chiefs are getting crushed by the weather, if you will. They're at Arrowhead. They have a party. They had the shelter in place as the storms were coming through. You can see out there right now, it is considerably more quiet. They're probably coming out right now because the strongest winds have moved on. But in the middle of the NFL draft, when the Chiefs are trying to decide who they're going to pick next, they had to go shelter in place. Can you imagine telling the Chiefs general manager and owner, by the way, I know the draft's going on. I know it's important to your future, but you need to go find some shelter right now. So hopefully everybody's safe there. And looking at the velocity, this is them sheltering in the back hallway. Marlia Campbell, our sports director, is there, I assume, and took this picture of showing everybody right there in the back hall, sheltering in place. So if the Chiefs can do it, we all can do it, right? If we can just be safe like the Chiefs. Looking out there right now, Arrowhead Stadium, just some moderate rain coming out. The worst of it is over. In fact, if you take a look at the velocity here, you could see, the leading edge of this stronger winds are near Lake Lotawana, all the way up to just east of Buckner to east of Excelsior Springs. So thankfully, most of the metro now is starting to transition to just some showers and some gusty winds behind the front. So can't call the all clear, but we're definitely looking much better here in the metro than we were just about 20-30 minutes ago. Melissa?
Well, it looks like we're getting some new updates in the tornado warning that we were watching for the northern kind of side has now transitioned to a tornado possible tag. So we are looking north of Excelsior Springs. Let's kind of zoom in because it's just dropped in, and then we'll take a look at that tornado warning again. So the severe thunderstorm warning that didn't include portions of Caldwell, Clinton, Davies, and Ray County. They still have a tornado possible tag, so we're going to watch for little notches in there once again. But overall, 60-mile-per-hour winds and quarter-sized hail will be the main threats in this specific part of the storm. We're looking at Cameron down towards Lawson, Polo going to be getting more of that heavy rain here in a couple of minutes, and strong gusty winds. So as we go down, here's a look at the tornado warning. Oh, looks like they just edited that too. So we're now looking at, let me double check. There are no tornado warnings, but the spots we've been watching, this Boeing segment, as it's been moving east, this is where we're watching right now for one, the strongest wind gusts, and two, little notches that could bring the possibility for tornado spin up. So we've got on both of these warnings now that have just been continued, we've got tornado possible tag. So we're going to continue to watch this area, but there is no tornado warning in place anymore. Now let's kind of readdress these strong wind gusts we've been seeing. We've seen several reports now of winds. I have been looking through the National Weather Service chat. Looks like there have been some reports of hail in Jackson County and Kansas City, quarter-sized hail. And then also thunderstorm wind gusts towards Platte County near Lake Wacomas of 59 miles per hour. And then in Leavenworth, there was a thunderstorm wind gust of 62 miles per hour. So we've seen some confirmed winds come out of this. Now it's moving further towards, of course, the east. Now we're on the eastern side of town. So here's how this structure has kind of occurred. So if we look back towards the beginning loop of the scan, towards Leavenworth, you can see it kind of take more of this bow structure, kind of like a bow and arrow. This is where we're looking at more likely the stronger winds. So I want to take a look, at what the winds are doing. And then looks like we're seeing a hail core start to develop between Excelsior Springs and Lathrop. So we'll take a look at that too. But let's look at wind first, as we have seen confirmation, of course, of wind. Some small hail, quarter-sized hail, we've seen confirmation of too. But let's go to the wind. Right now, looks like the strongest wind gusts are just north of Excelsior Springs. Just towards the northeast. We're starting to see some pockets of that yellow east of Lawson, east of Excelsior Springs, and east of 69 Highway. Let me turn off the watch and warnings behind it so we can take a look at how strong the radar thinks these winds are east of Excelsior State. So 70 mile per hour wind, so it's around 68 is what we're looking at. And then in between Excelsior Springs, Wood Heights, and Rayville, those winds not quite as strong, 50 miles per hour. So let's zoom in a little bit closer, see if we can get street view of where the strongest winds are likely occurring. Highway D, Highway C, just towards the east of Lawson. So Highway D, Highway C, east of Lawson. Stronger winds are knocking on your door, heading towards crossing, which looks to be Missouri 13, and then heading towards Millville. So we see some pockets of those stronger winds developing up towards the northern side. And then heading towards Richmond too, seeing some pockets maybe of some stronger winds developing. Richmond likely going to start to see some strong wind gusts, 60 miles an hour possible, as over towards Henrietta too. So we'll take a look at, those winds. I want to send it over to Mike. Mike, what are you seeing over there?
I got a considerable down south.
Okay.
The area that we've been really hit hard by our previous severe events is now getting hit hard again. A considerable tag for a severe thunderstorm warning for Douglas County, Franklin County, all the way down to Anderson, over towards Lynn and Miami and up towards Johnson County. Considerable means we could have winds gusting up to about 70 miles per hour. So you can see just near Paola, Garnett probably getting hailed on down to Colony. That's the leading edge of this storm. The hail threat's about an inch. The winds are the bigger story with this. And we'll put a track on it. Let me advance this just a little bit. Let's get a little bit farther to the east. This is a slow moving cluster, but it is bowing out. It's moving at 30 miles per hour. It's moving much slower than the one that just pounded the 435 loop. So Colony, 934. It's on top of you right now. So let me move that just a little bit more to the east. We may have a scan that's getting a little long in the tooth there. So let's move this just a little bit more. And there you go, 937, Bush City. So that's about 2 minutes from now. Lone Elm, 942. Kincaid, 952. Lacine, 1001. Drexel, we're getting over here towards 1004. It looks a little hot spot right here around Paola where there may be some gusty winds there also. So Paola, just pay attention. It may be something blowing your way here in the next minute or so. So we've got that considerable tag, that severe thunderstorm warning until 10 o'clock. So another 25 minutes until this thing could possibly roll across and head over towards Bates County in Missouri, head heading over towards here. So that's something we're going to keep an eye on. But right now, all attention is focused right from Paola, Garnett, Welda to Colony. Melissa?
Thanks, Mike. Back kind of in the metro and points to the north. As I'm going to put the loop on, as you can see, we've really seen the kind of bowing of this specific structure really accelerate here of the last hour or so as it started back from Leavenworth and then basically kind of pushed forward. So right now, the strongest part of the storm is the leading edge. So portions of the Kansas City metro is now out of this. So if you live in the 435 loop, except for those that are down towards Lee Summit and Lock Lloyd, we'll get to you in just a second. But right now, majority of the 435 loop is not in a severe warning. Let me turn off the radar, actually, make it easier to see. So you can see all the lightning. I'll leave the lightning on. But you can see it's now towards the southern portions of Jackson and Johnson counties that still are in the warning. And then now it's the line that's east. Once again, it's the leading edge of the line. We've got the considerable tag towards the north. We'll kind of go through these warnings that we've got going on in and around the eastern side of the metro and then kind of reset, and then I'll send it back to Mike. But here's a look at the overall metro area and then to the north. We've got the one considerable tag now. That is going to be for Claude, Clinton, Davies, and Ray counties, 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts and quarter-size hail. If you remember, up here towards Cameron, north of Excelsior Springs, that's where we're seeing those indications of 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts on our radar. So see that. That's why we've got the considerable tag. We're also, of course, watching this line for some tornado spin up. So a threat also is tornado possible on this tag. We've also got the severe thunderstorm warning. That is a base level severe thunderstorm warning for Carroll, Johnson, Lafayette, and Ray counties. 60-mile-per-hour winds and nickel-sized hail. If you live on the southern portion of the metro, we're looking at Olathe, Lock Lloyd, Lee Summit. We've got that warning in place, and that will be until 10 p.m. Keep in mind it's 9:37. This is for 60-mile-per-hour winds and nickel-sized hail too. So I want to kind of show you what's going on our winds. As you can see, really as we kind of jump out some bright spots, we've got what's going on north of Richmond still in that considerable tag. We'll go there here in just a second. Also maybe some pockets of some stronger wind gusts south of the 435 loop and then north of Belton, east of Olathe. So what we'll do first is we'll go up towards the northeast into the considerable tag area. South of Polo, this is in between Lawson and Missouri 13, south of Polo. Pockets of some stronger winds starting to be picked up. Keep in mind, this is the considerable tag, so this is warned for 70-mile-per-hour winds. We've seen these brighter spots. Usually they pick up 65, 70 miles per hour. That is what we're seeing with this specific spot. So let me actually move this over so you can all see it behind me. There we go. Those brighter yellows we're looking at, 60-mile-per-hour winds possible. And then up south of Elmira, around 60-mile-per-hour winds too. The strongest winds likely going to be going south of Polo, crossing over Missouri 13, north of Rayville. So that's where we've got the stronger winds now. But once again, as we look back, there are some pockets of some stronger winds, possibly for those on the southern side of the metro. We'll take a look at that, and then we'll get over to Mike. So let's zoom back in. South of Leawood, south of the 435 loop, we're in between 69 Highway, Grandview. This is maybe where we're seeing some pockets of some stronger winds embedded within this too. Keep in mind 60-mile-per-hour winds and nickel-sized hail. Radar picking up around 49, 50-mile-per-hour winds in this specific spot. Just north of Stanley, north of Martin City, in between 69 and 435. Let's see if I can zoom in a little bit closer, and then I'll send it over to Mike. Right now, those pockets of some stronger winds, New Santa Fe, we're looking at portions of Knoll Avenue. That is south of 435. We're looking at Rowe Avenue and the cross streets south of 435. And then west 119th Street. So between 69 Highway and State Line Road, south of 435 is where we're looking at right now. So New Santa Fe, right now where some of those stronger wind gusts are. Mike?
All right, I'm still down to the south,
okay.
Still looking at all those counties that are under the considerable. It'll pop up here. And we're still possibly pushing out 70-mile-per-hour winds out of a storm that's not moving half that speed. It's only moving at about 30 miles per hour. But you can see Anderson and Lynn and Franklin and Miami and Johnson and heading over on the other side of the border over to Missouri. It's going to take a while for them to get there. Here's a look at where they are. And you can see them moving. You can see it bowing out right here. I talked about that earlier when you came to me, that Paola, it looks like you're going to get possibly some of the stronger winds as you look at that bow right there. I'm going to watch this area right along 35, because as that bows out, the winds could be curling around there just a little bit and rotating. I haven't seen that yet, but that's something I'm going to keep an eye on. And around Garnett, we've got some hail there. I'll show you the hail track in a second. First, I want to give you an idea of where this thing's going. Let me update this and put it right there. And so possible 70-mile-per-hour damaging winds coming to Bush City in less than 3 minutes. Lone Elm at 9:49, Kincaid at 9:59, and Lacine at 10:08. It's 9:41 right now. Now, talking about the hail, this is the history. And when you start to see the blue, that's more than an inch. So we had possibly the radar seeing more than an inch hail, and that can cause some damage. What I'm seeing right now is as it heads towards Hillsdale Lake, that there's not as much blue there, but the potential for that area that got hit almost a week and a half ago, there's a little bit of hail coming your way, but it's not going to be even that ginormous hail that we saw hit Paola earlier with that grapefruit size hail or that softball size hail. So we're not looking at that. It's still mainly a straight line wind event, and there's a little bit of a curl right there. I'm going to keep an eye on that, and there's a little bit of a curl right there between Olathe and Paola and just to the east of Garnett. No tornado warnings, but it has me concerned a little bit when you see that curl. So I'll keep an eye on that. If I see anything, I'll jump back in. I'm going to send it back to Melissa.
Here's kind of a wide view, once again, what's going on. We've got a line of storms that are moving through the area. Majority of those that are on the northwestern side of 35 is in the clear in terms of the severe warnings, but likely seeing some general rain and thunderstorm activity. I do think overall, as this has been a little bit slower in nature, we're looking at more rain totals being picked up, but know that right now the strongest part of the storm is down towards that kind of 435 loop up towards Cameron, and the storms that Mike has been tracking down 35 towards portions of Anderson and Franklin County, Miami County. So we've been watching this line as it's moved through. The primarily kind of bowing segment we've been watching, of course, has moved directly through the metro and is now on the eastern side of it. So that's what the kind of lay of the land is if we take a wide view and reset. But I wanted to show you the rainfall amounts. This is from our radar estimated rainfall. Heavier rainfall falling in Maryville and Falls City. Usually when we see the colors that are like a lighter blue, that's an inch or less. When we see more greens, that's about 2+ inches. I did pull up some of the specific spots in the metro, and picking up anywhere on the southern side of I-70, 1.5 to 2 inches. And then in between Excelsior Springs, Buckner, between about 1.7 inch. Highest amounts I've seen back towards the northern side of Lawrence, and in between Tonganoxie around 2.5 inches of rain. So we have seen a little bit higher rain totals than we had forecasted. It is a little bit slower in nature. We were expecting it to move a little bit faster. It'll be harder to dump as much rain if it's moving as quickly as it was, but it just started to pick up some speed. So once again, overall, that line is moving through most parts of the northern edge of I-70, not included in a warning. We are now just seeing general rain and thunderstorms. However, I'm going to go back into what we're seeing in and around the 435 loop and to the east, because I've been kind of going over this. Mike has been going towards the south.
Can I jump in real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
That area that you just talked about, just no more than 15 minutes ago, tree down and cable service lines blocking road in Platte Woods in Platte County from a thunderstorm, a severe thunderstorm wind there. Okay. We also have a tree down in Leavenworth County, 4 miles northeast of Linwood. The tree is blocking both lanes of travel, so you need to take that bow seriously, and that's why Melissa's been spending so much time on it, because we have already seen damage come from this particular storm. Back to you.
Thanks, Mike. Particularly up towards the north is where we've been seeing kind of those brighter spots occurring just south of Gomer. We're up in this kind of white box area. We're going to zoom back into that, show you where the strongest winds are currently ongoing. And it's kind of right between Gomer and north of Richmond. Let me zoom in over here. Between Polo, Richmond is still where we're looking at for some of those stronger winds. We're up in that considerable warning, so keep that in mind. Pockets of around 55 miles per hour. Let me move it over again so you guys could all have a little bit better view. Looks like we got a new scan. So it's just now east of Hardin, Coghill, east of Coghill, and basically the stronger winds right now in between Highway 10 and 116. So if I start to query some of these stronger winds around 55, 60 miles per hour being picked up on our radar, 62, that's down just east of Hardin and in between Norborn. So no, if you're in Bramer right now, if you're in Norborn, you're seeing some strong winds shortly going to be moving into the area. As of course, these have been moving very quickly. They picked up to 60, 65 miles an hour. But Bramer and then Norborn are going to be seeing the strongest winds coming out of the leading edge of this line as it crosses over into that kind of crossover between the county. So eventually Norborn, Bramer seeing some stronger winds starting to pick up 70 miles an hour, and then Leslie too. So overall, that's where we've seen the strongest wind gusts from this specific spot. But no, there are two other severe warnings that we've got in place for 60-mile-per-hour winds and quarter-sized hail, especially as we look at this yellow polygon. I know there's a lot going on this screen. And then down into portions of southern Johnson and southern Jackson County on the southern edge of the 435 loop. So let's kind of go closer to the kind of I-70 corridor, the 435 loop, and then I'll send it back over to Mike. But as you can see, still seeing heavy torrential downpours ongoing along the southern edge of 435, Olathe, Belton, Lee Summit, and still along I-70. As we're looking at the Boeing segment, still there, maybe a little bit on a weakening trend, possibly losing a little bit of its coloring, which indicates to us maybe losing a little bit of some strength. But we're going to continue to track it, of course. Let's go back and look at some of maybe where pockets of some stronger winds are down towards places like Grandview and in southern portions of Jackson and Johnson County. Right now, the strongest coloring to me just between Hickman Mills, Grandview, east of New Santa Fe, Martin City, and then heading towards Lee Summit. So let's see what our radar is picking up. Keep in mind, this is warned for around 60-mile-per-hour winds. Velocity picking up around 45-ish miles per hour. So those pockets of some stronger winds may mix down a little bit stronger as they get to the surface. But if I zoom in, more street level, Hickman Mills, Grandview, likely seeing some pockets of some really gusty winds ongoing, specifically between Martha Truman Road, Blue River Road, north of Blue Ridge exit, and south of East Red Bridge Road, crossing US Highway 71, and then Hickman Mills. If we move a little bit more towards the east, we're seeing some brighter spots being picked up too, just towards the west of Lee Summit. We're in between Longview Road, Southwest Schroeder Parkway, and Southwest 3rd Street. So kind of right in this vicinity is where we're looking at some brighter colors, gusts of around 37, 40 miles per hour. But Longview would be where it is headed to next, and then later on down the line, Lee Summit as it crosses over Highway 50. So I just kind of wanted to diagnose what's going on in and around the metro. Not much in terms of hail. Here's our current hail tracker. It's hard to see anything if it's on there. Maybe one little spot that's just south of Raytown right now. And I would assume this is going to be some very small hail, probably ½ inch, so closer to marble sized. Probably smaller than that, pea sized. Just south of Raytown between 435 south of Arrowhead and along 291, or excuse me, 350. I read that wrong. I apologize. 350. So Raytown, 350, 435, possibly some small hail. Mike?
All right, I'm up north where we've got a considerable tag on some storms. I'm getting the storm track set up to show you where this is going. First, let's go back and talk about the warning. It's a considerable tag for Caldwell, Carroll, Davies, Livingston. Those are just some of them. Ray, we've got Carroll over there. So this whole entire area is what Melissa's been watching for most of the night. When she was diagnosing the metro, I went ahead and took over here and just wanted to make sure we're keeping an eye on this because it is a considerable tag with nearly 70-mile-per-hour winds. Possible. So you can see the bowing nature of that, pushing past Polo, Richmond, moving through Richmond and Wellington right now. Hamilton's got a little bit of hail, so let me stop this. And these are moving at 50 miles per hour. So let me go ahead and just put a whole track on this bow right here. Let's go this one first, and this is the next 45 minutes. Okay, so Braymore at 9:53, that's about a minute and a half from now. Norborn, 9:57. We can see Quarter right down here at 10:03. Carrollton coming at you at about 10:09, and Blackburn 10:13. So this is the storm that's had a history of producing damage with trees down in Platte County on the Missouri side and Leavenworth County on the Kansas side. So that's why we're concerned about this particular storm as it's moving off to the east at about 30 miles per hour. So once again, this whole area, you need to be in your shelter till at least 10:30. It's 9:52 right now, so we've got a good 38 minutes before we could possibly call the all clear. But this is a big line. I mean, look at all those counties. It's got to be at least, 50 miles across, maybe 30. I can actually look if you want. Let's see how big this particular line is. Let's go. All right, so it's about 40. So that's a huge area that has the potential to witness those 70-mile-per-hour winds and the damage. Now, we've got another storm that's just a little bit farther to the north. So let me go up to the north here just a little bit, and this one's under a warning too. You can see a little bit of hail out of that, and the storms as they head towards Trenton and Newton don't look nearly as impressive, but they're getting a little bit farther from the radar, so we're looking at a little bit higher. But if you live in Chillicothe, Chula, Galt, Milan, Newton, Newtown, this storm is heading towards you, and it could produce some damage also. And you are under that warning. Let's take a look until, as we head up towards Trenton in that area. That's until 10, so you got about another 7 minutes or so. So I'm going to turn it back to Melissa. I'm going to see if there's any updates from the Weather Service, and we'll keep tracking these severe storms that are creating damage. Melissa?
Thanks, Mike. I had checked our kind of YouTube channel and our YouTube stream to see if there were any kind of questions. A lot of questions ongoing right now about the metro and if the metro is done. And so I wanted to show you radar right now. The strongest part of this line is by far the leading edge of it. There are warnings all over the kind of leading edge of this line, but I wanted to turn the radar off to show you that some of us are not included in these warnings. So if you live north of I-70 in the 435 loop, I'm talking about Overland Park, Independence, Westwood, Gladstone, Parkville, Shawnee, Missouri City, Liberty, you are not in any severe warnings. You still have ongoing rain and thunderstorm activity. So it's not severe. The leading edge of the line is by far the most potent, especially as we see these types of setups. So likely just going to see some rain and thunderstorm activity, kind of generic springtime rain and thunderstorm activity, while those that are off towards the east have more of those severe thunderstorm warnings and the considerable tag. So I hope that kind of helped. I did want to head down now to the south to take a look at what's going on in places like Miami County and Franklin County. There are two specific warnings out here. So that's this one that's been picked up. This is the considerable tag. Anderson, Franklin County, 70-mile-per-hour winds. Looks like there's a small hail core too. We'll kind of look at that here in just a second. But also a continuation of that line is just towards the east for portions of our Miami County, includes Paola and Blue Mound City as well. Sorry. But I wanted to look at the leading edge of this to see, because we're looking at 70-mile-per-hour winds, and then the other warning itself, I don't believe has a considerable tag. I think it is a general severe thunderstorm warning. That is true. 60-mile-per-hour winds and quarter-sized hail. So the strongest part of this kind of line on the southern edge is moving through just the southern part of Garnett towards Lone Elm right now. So we're going to kind of diagnose what's going on over here towards our southern areas, and then we'll pick back up and go towards the north once again. But let's take a look at the winds that we're watching, because right now we're kind of transitioning more into strong wind potential as we've seen this line, of course, progress here over the last couple of hours. So let me just make sure I'll toggle on the correct radar, and we'll take off the warning so we could see where the leading edge of the strongest winds are. Likely back towards Garnett, Welda. Let's see if I turn on the Topeka radar. If we get a closer look. Not necessarily. So let's see what we're picking up here. Around 40, 45 miles per hour out into portions of our Anderson County. And I wanted to check too on the hill core, because we were starting to see some indications of that from radar itself. So once again, south of Garnett, this is where we're looking at. That would be where that hill core is, just to the south. I want to put back on our hail tracker. That way, for those that are south of Garnett, we could diagnose more specifically how big that hail is. Looks like it would be small hail. It's showing up a little bit lighter in color. I'm going to zoom way in. We're in between Garnett, Bush City, and Welda. This is looking anywhere between very small hail, probably pea-sized hail, marble-sized hail, and that is going to be kind of 169 and 59. But strong winds are primarily going to be what's going on right now in our southern areas as this line continues to move towards the east-southeast. Mike?
All right, we're coming up on 10 o'clock. I see Brad has moved into the studio, so it looks like we're going to maybe switch over to our news. We'll get confirmation on that. I just wanted to show you once again this storm up to the north and the damage that it's produced. Excelsior states tree damage from a thunderstorm. Look at Kearney. Large and small limbs down, partially unfinished building wall collapse. So that's what the strong winds are doing out of this storm that still continues to have that considerable tag until 10:30. So we're still more than 30 minutes away from that storm pushing out of those areas. And you can just see it, especially bowing out, heading towards Higginsville, Carrollton, Chillicothe. This thing is moving to the east at 50 miles per hour. And then it's got that little tail that's going back into the metro, the southern metro that Melissa was watching. And some of this is still possibly severe for Lee Summit, Oak Grove, heading towards Warrensburg and Sweet Springs, right down Interstate 70. So if you live near there, watch out. You still have some pretty strong storms that are heading your way. And you know, kind of to reset everything, let me take the radar off here and let me show you what is going on as we've got just a line just around Interstate 35 and eastward. The yellow boxes are severe thunderstorm warnings. We talked about this. We were going to transition from tornado being the big threat, which it was when it was out west. Let's take a look and see what's going on with that tornado watch. And it's probably let go for most of us. Yeah, none of us are in a tornado watch anymore. Here's the severe thunderstorm watch. That is going to continue till 12 o'clock. So that's the transition that we're seeing that Melissa and I talked about when this line of thunderstorms was going to develop after the supercells all merged and became that line. So that's what we're watching at right now. Melissa?
Here's a wide look too. I know Mike just went through our kind of watches, what's been going on. A lot of us have been dropped out of the tornado watch. The severe thunderstorm watch continues on. Here's what we're looking at now. Basically, the line's still stretching. We're now moving east of 35 for the leading edge of the line, but it stretches through 35 basically throughout the entirety of our coverage area. It's the leading edge of the line. We've transitioned more to those strong wind potential with isolated tornado spin-ups. There are a few pockets in here that indicate to us, especially those with the white boxes, that could be a little bit stronger with considerable tags with winds up to 70 miles per hour. Mike and I are going to continue to track this, but we want to send it over to KCTV 5 News at 10 p.m.
KCTV 5 News starts now with a First Warn Weather Day.
And we begin with a live look at the roads tonight from the First Warn 5 weather tracker. Today is a First Warn weather day. That is our highest alert.
And tonight's severe threat comes as the NFL draft kicks off. This is video from a watch party at Power and Light, and you can see lightning striking above.
And this is what downtown looked like earlier tonight. You can see just how hard the rain is coming down.
Moving to 51st Street now, where residents saw these strong lightning strikes. And we want to get straight out to First Warn 5 meteorologist Melissa Meter. Melissa, you have been following this the whole way through. What is the very latest?
The very latest is that now that we're at the 10 o'clock hour, we've seen some adjustments to the warnings, and overall they have been in a good sense. So we now only have 2 severe warnings that are in place across our area. We've got one in our northeast. We've got one down towards the southwest. The one that's in the northeast, it's highlighted in this kind of yellow, this white outline. This is a considerable tag. This part of the storm is the strongest part right now. We'll go take a look at this part of the storm, and then we also have that severe thunderstorm warning that's down to portions of our southern areas for 60-mile-per-hour winds and quarter-sized hail. So just so you can see, these are the only 2 warnings we've got in place. I took the radar off. It's just south of the metro and then to the northeast of the metro too. So this is the 2 spots that we're watching right now for the strongest part of the line. I'm going to zoom back in and show you what's going on right now, especially for those to our north. This is where we've seen some of the strongest wind gusts come out so far this evening. Of course, we've had several considerable warnings that are around 70 miles an hour, but this specific spot has seen pockets of 70+ miles per hour. So the considerable tag continues, goes for another 30 minutes or so. So it's 10:02 right now. This continues until 10:30. It's 70-mile-per-hour winds and quarter-sized hail. These are moving quick, around 50 miles per hour. So with a considerable tag, Chillicothe and then down towards Carrollton is going to be where the kind of stronger winds are going to be setting up here. But if we look at the leading edge, looks like we got to switch off and get our, let's switch our radar quick. There we go. Those stronger winds now moving towards Leslie, north of Carrollton, and then towards Chillicothe, picking up 60, maybe 70-mile-per-hour winds there. And then if we head to the storm that is down towards the south, looks like they just issued a new continuation of the warning for Bates, Cass, Lynn, and Miami counties. And that is going to probably be for 60-mile-per-hour winds and quarter-sized hail as well. But the leading edge would be the strongest part of the storm for those 60-mile-per-hour winds. Lewisburg down to Lacine, and then eventually Drexel going to be seeing those stronger winds. Once again, here's a look. I'm going to walk you through what radar could look like here over the next couple of hours as we continue to see this move off towards the south and east right now. Radar has done a fairly good job so far this evening. It's 10 o'clock right now. I think it's a little bit further east than it's showing up. I think we're probably closer to about this. But as we go to the next 2 hours, it's pretty much wrapped up by the time we get to around midnight tonight. So by midnight, 1 o'clock, we should basically be done with this line. I do think there are going to be some lighter rain showers that are still on the backside of this. But overall, the severe threat's going to go away with the leading edge of the line as it continues to move out of the area. So we should all be clear of rain as we go into about 7 a.m. on your Friday morning. But overall, the severe parts of the storm should be out of the area as we go into about 2 o'clock a.m.
Hours to go, Melissa. Thank you very much. Now let's get to KCTV 5's Chandler Watkins. She's been tracking road conditions all night in the First Warn weather tracker. Chandler, where are you? And I'd imagine you've got quite the light show.
Yeah, we are on 435 heading west. We actually are passing by the Quivira exit now, and you could probably hear it. Heavy rain is coming down right now. We're seeing the occasional lightning and thunder. Wind has become less of a problem for us throughout the night. Didn't know if you just heard that thunder there, but we've seen some people driving with their hazards on still. One of just the main issues that we've been seeing is as the rain has continued to heavily come down, water has been pooling on the interstates, as well as the ramps to get on and off of the interstates. So if people have to get out tonight, definitely be safe, drive carefully, but like I said, just heavy rain for us right now, some thunder and lightning, but we'll continue to monitor conditions and keep you guys updated.
All right, Chandler, thank you very much. And tonight's weather is causing power outages across the metro. This is a look at Evergy's power outage map. Right now, more than 5,000 customers are in the dark. If you see any downed power lines, officials are asking you to please stay away. And our team of meteorologists will help you navigate severe weather season on KCTV 5+. It's free, so just search for it on your streaming device of choice.
All right, turning now to the NFL draft. The Kansas City Chiefs making a statement tonight, trading up 3 spots to land what many experts are calling the best quarterback in the class. With the 6th overall pick, the Chiefs took quarterback Mansour Delane out of LSU. Now, this comes just months after GM Brett Veach traded star corner Trent McDuffie to the Los Angeles Rams.
Like, I'm gonna be 100% honest. You know, when they called me, I just started crying. I don't know who was talking. I was just saying thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. But then I remember I just talked to Coach Reed, Mr. Veach. I just remember those two specifically. Once I kind of winded down a little bit, but it was a great moment.
Considered one of the best cornerbacks in all of college football, and a big personality coming to Kansas City as well. And with the 29th pick in the first round, the Chiefs went defense again, selecting defensive tackle Peter Woods out of Clemson. Now, let's get to KCTV5 Zach Fisher at tonight's watch party at Power and Light. Zach, you've been going through some storms there as well, but how are fans reacting to tonight's big trade?
Brad, they were pumped for that big trade just a couple hours ago. Chiefs Kingdom was out loud and proud. We'll show you it now. It's thinned out because of the weather. People were taking shelter about 45 minutes to an hour ago. Now the last pick for them done, so they've obviously heading home here. But the trade actually caught them off guard. Season ticket holders say the news of the trade spread like wildfire throughout the crowd. Mansour Delane is a welcome addition to the Chiefs secondary, as you're going to hear from fans. Several of them walked me through their thoughts of the pick and the reaction to the trade out.
So I was stoked, because I'm waiting for the 9th pick. And when it came up on the screen, we're like, what? Oh, my God.
It happens this year, but we got gaps in the secondary, so I think this guy's going to be a stud, man.
Should pick up Spags' defense pretty quick. I appreciated this. Let's go out and get what we need and what we want.
Let your personality show. The Chiefs are going to pick you up because of what you did in college. So let that show every single day.
That's Chiefs legends, former All-Pro linebacker, now Chiefs Hall of Fame inductee Derek Johnson, giving some advice to the new Chiefs rookies. Also encouraging them just to get involved into the community, just touting a lot of what Kansas City has to offer. So even with the weather tonight, Brad, there's still a lot of energy from Chiefs fans and Chiefs legends. Live in Power Line, Zach Fisher, KCTV 5 News.
Well, it's quiet there now, but you could tell during your interviews it was electric and loud there at Power and Light. Zach, thank you.
Moving now to a live look at the KCTV 5 tower, which is shining red for the start of the Chiefs draft.
Looks great tonight, doesn't it? New tonight, starting next year, girls flag football will be officially recognized as a sanctioned sport. It's a move that garnered support from Kansas City Metro school districts, students, parents, and staff. Plus, the Chiefs even kicked off a statewide campaign earlier this month just to make sure it passed. Now, just because it's been sanctioned doesn't mean that schools have to start a team. Some board members shared concerns about the costs around a team, but said they still voted yes to make sure that others have an opportunity.
Kansas City countdown. The World Cup kicks off in 49 days. Thousands of people are expected to travel to the Metro for the tournament. The reigning world champions, Argentina, will be base camping at Sporting Park in KCK. Now, KCK police and fire are now training for the worst case scenario. So tonight, KCTV5's Betsy Webster has an inside look.
What's happening here behind me is about being quick but calm, and most importantly, coordinated.
There's an active shooter here and many victims. 2 agencies lead the charge, and what happens over here at a shared command post is essential.
It's more than just coordination, it's integration. It's two becoming one.
The first goal of the police is to stop the killing.
But on the other hand, we have to very quickly transition into getting our firefighters in there.
The firefighters are wearing flak jackets and helmets. You'll notice they're with police.
They stop the killing, our job is to stop the dying, and we can't do that without them.
Medics and EMTs pull up, but can't get inside to the victims until police are there to provide cover. Police and firefighters are then paired to enter in teams.
We have to really expedite that process so that we can save as many lives as possible.
None of the techniques are new, but now's the time to be sure they're second nature.
Police does a lot, they do a lot of training, fire department, we do a lot of training, but it's kind of like ballroom dancing, right? You could do the foxtrot on your own, and you can get really good at it, but it's a lot different when you do it with somebody else.
These drills have been going on now for 2 weeks, and there is another coming up on May 8th. So if you see action out here, don't stress out. It's just a drill. In Kansas City, Kansas, Betsy Webster, KCTV 5 News.
Okay, moving now to a live look over downtown Kansas City on what has been a wet and stormy, and as you can see, lots of lightning out there all across Kansas City. And it is a first warned weather day. So Melissa's back with another look at your forecast tonight.
Here's a look at radar right now, kind of a large view across the area. We've got two spots that we're watching still for the stronger parts of this line. We saw the line take formation here the last couple of hours. We transitioned more to a strong wind threat with some isolated tornado spin-ups. So here's the warnings that we're looking at. If you live downtown in the 435 loop, you're just seeing regular rain and thunderstorm activity right now. And as Chandler mentioned, the rain's coming down pretty hard. As we go up towards the northeast, we're looking at the severe thunderstorm warning for Caldwell, Carroll, Davies, Livingston counties till 10:30. Keep in mind, it's about 10:12 now. This is going to be for 60-mile-per-hour winds and quarter-sized hail. There are some pockets that we're watching, maybe for some stronger winds. That's going to kind of be along this specific highway. Let me get a specific here. We're looking at Highway 65 in between Carrollton, Chillicothe, and in between 24. So right kind of in this kind of 24 corridor up towards Carrollton and Chillicothe is where we're seeing pockets of the stronger winds on the leading edge. We then move into the metro. It's just regular rain and thunderstorm activity. We've seen some back building. We're expecting to see kind of more rain and regular storms filter through the area, but the stronger part of the storm as we go from north to south is in the south as well. Bates, Cass, Lynn, Miami counties are in a warning until 10:45 for 60-mile-per-hour winds and quarter-sized hail. We'll have more on this in just a few minutes.
From dialysis 3 times a week to dreaming about the future. Coming up, the Kansas City woman starting a new chapter thanks to a life-changing gift from her brother. But first, here's what's ahead on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert. Breaking now, a deadly crash has shut down southbound I-35 near Antioch Road. That is in Merriam, just south of the